everyone, how is it going? Welcome to the podcast with You Don't Look Disabled, in which we talk about stuff about being disabled in this world. Yeah, that's it. Rambo, you do this one so much better than me.
Really?
Yes,
Uh,
actually, though. Hello, I'm Toad. Rambo is gonna present the rest.
okay. Hello everyone. So today's episode is going to be about. Da-da-da-da. Just kidding. This is not why I did such a happy, that thingy, because the theme is
Irony.
going to be so heavy. The irony, yes, layers of irony, as it is the custom of this channel.
This person
So,
hasn't even read Homestuck, help me. Oh god, you're gonna
yes.
love the levels
So,
of
so, so,
irony.
so, so, so the theme is going to be about ableism in education. So, to explain things, ableism is of any form of discrimination and/or prejudice against disabled people, us. It stems from the idea that being able-bodied is the default in the society. Therefore, our current system was not built in take into consideration the existence of disabled people. So the consequences of that, of this type of ableism, are going to be explored on this podcast. But today specifically, we're going to focus more on the academic ableism, given that Toad is a music teacher and a former student, I guess.
Was I a
I don't
student?
know.
Was anyone a
I
student
don't.
at any point of their lives? I
Listen,
don't know if that's a thing that happens. I think you need to be a professional
I
student or
listen.
something.
Listen. I don't know if there are schools in the pond. I'm not really sure. So
I see. No,
that,
no, no. We totes do have to study before they become teachers. Okay, like I know that like there's this myth that like because toads and frogs are all gay, they don't get proper education, but that's just discrimination against gay people. I swear, we all get education.
okay, that thing for I was being homophobic here. So
God damn.
and I am undergraduate student against my own will.
Damn. That's rough, buddy.
So yeah, it's just rough. It's coercion. It's capitalism, basically. So another thing important that I have to say is, it's going to be important. I promise. I promise. Is that I am early diagnosed autistic and Toad is a late diagnosed one. So it will make sense.
Yes, yes, that is
So
important
with
indeed.
that being said, okay.
That is important indeed.
Oh, sorry. Just went Portuguese for a minute. So, with that being said, we are going to talk about our experience in school, basically. I think so. That's what we
Yeah.
do. So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to start earlier because. I guess kindergarten, elementary school. I guess it's early enough.
Yes.
So,
Humble,
Toad.
let me just ask chat that if for some reason the sound is like a little bit unbalanced for some reason, please let us know so that I can correct it. Just because we were testing, but it might still be a thing that the sound might not be ideal. So just let us know so that I can adjust stuff in case that is a thing that is happening. Sorry,
Okay,
go on.
okay. No. It's important. So, no, I was going to start the intervention with you, like how it was, I guess, things going on in school when you were in kindergarten, elementary school, even hell, even in middle school. Given the fact that you are disabled, even though you didn't know it.
For me, it was basically harder with my peers. And that was like the thing that I noticed the most, and that growing up affected me the most and in a more direct way, like in a way that I could rationally understand how damaging it was. Because I had a very, very, very hard time relating to my colleagues. I had a very particular way of expressing myself. And I also was very gender non-conforming, which is in a way very related to my autism, and that made it so that the dynamics were very weird for me. This was the most obvious one for me growing up, but another one was, and this one was only a problem since primary school, not kindergarten, was the fact that I could not stay still to save my life. And that was a huge problem because although I was a very standard student in terms of like, you are breathing to the microphone, you're distracting me. Sorry, Humble.
I'm really sorry.
That's fine. I was just getting so distracted. Uh, anyway, I was like top student in terms of grades. So guess what? I was never diagnosed with ADHD. But
Shocking.
yeah, but because if I can focus in class, that means that I don't have ADHD. That's how it works, right?
Yeah. Big brain.
Big brain, biggest brain. But I couldn't stay put, and constantly on my school records, it was said that I needed to change my behavior, and that I was a hell of a student in terms of behavior, just because I couldn't stay quiet. The teachers tried to call me out on stuff, but I was listening to what they were saying at the same time that I was just making the classroom in a hell. Like, I was making a mess out of a classroom, talking to two people at the same time and moving my desk to the end of the room, and the teacher would ask me what did I just say, and I would repeat word
What?
for word what they just said, and they would get so angry at me that you have no idea.
Mate, you are a nightmare. Like, oh, this dipshit will not know anything if I call them out. Oh, what? You actually,
Actually, though,
you actually know?
because that's the thing. I have God damn it, bad
Audio
audio
processing
processing.
issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Yes. So, but this sometimes plays to my advantage in the sense that I don't listen to what people are telling me right away. I just save it in my memory and then I replay it. So, like, I wasn't actually listening to what the teacher was saying, but if the teacher called me out, I could just, like, replay the last 5 seconds and repeat word for word what they just said, even though I wasn't
Oh.
really paying attention.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I always knew what was going on, because if at some point, like, subconsciously I felt like the teacher said something important, I could just bring it to my attention, rationalize that, and go back to being distracted. That's how I survived the entirety of school.
What the hell,
Yeah.
man? That's something. How will you say?
Yeah, like, it felt
You're
super
a
cool.
nightmare.
I was a nightmare in the classroom, and I didn't feel like it affected me that much. Like, while growing up, it felt kind of cool sometimes, in the sense that I could get away with a lot of stuff, but it was really a disguised pain, because I grew up not really knowing what was wrong with me and not really understanding why I couldn't behave because I wanted to. It's not like I was just doing shit to mess around. I didn't want to be a bad kid. I, in fact, was trying very hard to be a good kid. I just couldn't be a good kid, so why not have some fun with it? Uh, but I grew up kind of traumatized with that. I just didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me. What about you?
So, oh my goodness, this was like, what about you? We're going to discover your dark secrets of your past.
Yes, I want to
Okay.
know everything. I mean, you already know my dark secrets. I think I also get the right to know yours.
You don't know mine? Like, I know that the peeps don't, but you know mine? Really?
Some of them.
Some of them. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. No, actually, no. So, I kindergarten cannot remember that much. I just remember it was a shitty time there, which it already explains. Like, if I don't remember kindergarten, it's because it was most likely a shitty time there because trauma, I guess. No,
For
there
me, it was the
was.
opposite. Jeez, I only remember the bad stuff. Almost only remember the bad stuff about
I don't
kindergarten, which
remember.
I do have.
I still have bad stuff. I still remember bad stuff. Was one of them was actually it has to actually to do with my autism, which was already diagnosed when I was 5. So yeah, 5 I was still in kindergarten. So so I remember one time I was I wanted to play with some toys. Uh, and I just wanted to play them. Like it was some Lego blocks or some shit. Like I just wanted to play with them, like other peeps were playing. But for some goddamn reason, I don't know why they didn't allow me to play. I don't know. And then I was kind of like, I was legitimately pissed because, listen, if you have the blocks in front of me and I cannot just play them, why are you forbidding me from playing? And I just got into a big fucking meltdown right there. And
Yeah.
I don't know what that happened to me, if they actually punished me or something. I don't remember. But they called me my mom, and it was probably bad shit because Jesus fucking Christ. And then I don't know what they actually. I don't know if they said like no, play in the kitchen, no, not with the Lego box. So I don't even know if it was even a gender thing because I don't really know. But then it's kind of like, it makes me think like I was not being inflexible. Like I just wanted to play. They were toys, and I wanted to play, and I didn't play them. They didn't allow me, and I was the inflexible one. No, and that's basically my life. Apparently, I have the blocks in front of me, and I just cannot play them. That's it. That's basically my experience. Just kidding.
I
So,
mean, that is a very good metaphor. I was all in for it. You got me there.
it is
Yeah, I think so.
kind of be. It can be. I will pick this metaphor later. Like I'm just going to think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it was not really thought of.
No problem.
Elementary school. The one I went to elementary school because I was already a special needs student when I was in kindergarten. Like actually, you know how 2005 is when the special needs teacher just says to my mom, just don't say that this kid has autism to people. Like they don't need to know.
Ugh.
Uh, which was awful to be honest, because I just because autism was a dark stuff back there. Uh,
It still kind of
um,
is treated like
it's
that.
it is kind of is, but imagine like 15 years ago, 16 years
That's the
ago.
thing. As a teacher, and we'll get there,
Hmm.
the kind of ableism that I see towards students is very much that you're describing. I don't think it changed that much. As a teacher,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
I
see
believe so. Yeah,
in the teacher's room, it's exactly that, and it
yeah, yeah,
sucks.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was even less. Yeah, it has less knowledge because
Hmm.
there wasn't that much internet.
Yeah,
But
you
like,
might be
yeah,
right. You might be right. Yeah.
slightly different times.
Hmm.
Yeah. So elementary school, they actually thought that I probably would have some learning disabilities. This was what the psychologists were saying. I'm going to guess that they thought that because I was not expressive what I was learning. I was doing very deeply. I was understanding everything. I was just not very expressive because I was overwhelmed all the time. So I was not very verbal about it. So that's my biggest guess, I think. Um, so they thought I would have learning disabilities when I would enter to high school. High school, Jesus, high school, great. I was 6 and I'm going to high school. Okay. No. But then my teacher, my at the time primary teacher, just said like, "Yo, this kid actually knows stuff. I don't get why they actually are in special needs classes. I was born in special needs classes. This was actually the time that I started to develop like
Yeah.
I thought I'm not very intelligent. Why am I here? Like I'm intelligent. Why am I here doing this bullshit of exercise? This was actually when you know I still have the thought that probably I'm not smart because I went to special needs classes. I don't know, some shit. So and I was dropped out of from special needs classes on the first semester, I think.
Hmm.
Semester, right? That's how it works. Uh, um, so basically, and then because there was always like the thing going on with my classmates because they knew my diagnosis, which was not great, I would say, given the fact that I could be very susceptible to friendships out of pity, which is awful because I don't know if
Yeah.
actually which I don't know if I had them. I was friends with some people, but I don't think it was out of pity. But there was one mate that just said to me, they were not a friend of me. They said to me like, "Oh, yo, everyone treats you well because you're special." That thing, that
Oh
thing pissed me off so
no.
much
Oh, of course it would.
because It was. I was 7. I got just go like, what the fuck you say? Why? I didn't ask um
Special. Fuck's sake.
that is so condescending. That's why I hate when people call me special. I hate. Genuinely hate. You're
Yeah.
asking me to have a full blown shut down there.
And it's very sad because
So
it's the way people use that word, because the word special should just mean, different, and that's neutral. And special actually should be kind of a
mhm.
good version of different, should be like a different, affectionate, and not derogatory, but they just do it
Yeah,
very
yeah.
derogatorily.
Actually, I prefer the eccentric and different because of that. Because it's so negative that I'm going to like twist them and make it appropriate enough in a
Hmm.
positive sense. That's why I probably prefer to call me myself eccentric because they never called me that when I was a kid. They called me special, which
But people called me eccentric and exotic all the time, so I hate those.
exotic. No, that's cringe.
It's kind of cringe, but yeah, like people that called me that usually had actually good intentions. Like you could tell that they meant it positively, but they were kind of not there and just felt wrong. Know what I mean?
I get it.
So yeah,
So
no.
yeah, so basically, how I'll describe myself as a student. Well, I was not a mess like Toad were. Kind of the opposite of that. Probably if you were there in my class, and the teacher and if my primary teacher was your teacher, was our teacher by the way, she would put me in the same in the same desk as me because
You would be
I was
so screwed. I would distract you all the fucking
like,
time.
and I would
I
be
would
like,
not let you
shut
finish
the
your
fuck up, I
task.
need to
Yes.
learn.
Yes, you would be having meltdowns like every 5 minutes, and the teachers would give up on that idea.
Like I would just hate the teacher and hate even more you. Like, no, I need concentration. I need to finish this task. I need to be concentrated all the time. And you are ruining this. You suck. I hate you. Like, or probably
Damn.
would just be enemies to lovers, and then it will be like such a beautiful story. But no, this didn't happen. So yeah, but probably it would be like that because I was a quiet kid. I want to be concentrated because also quiet because I was overwhelmed all the time. So this thing shut up. Shut down. Sorry. Uh,
It's okay. Aye.
so basically, and I was like, I didn't think I'd be a top student. No, I was not a top student. Like, yes, I would get good grades, but I was very bad at math. My other stuff was probably not very good. Was probably average. Like, I was not very good student. I was probably average student.
Yeah, and I
Even
kind of
then,
love that because, put it this way, math is just logical thinking. And
huh,
you are good at logical thinking. Like, if you
I
stop,
was.
that's the
I
thing.
just,
The only reason why you were not good at math is because the education system is not built for people like you, period.
yeah, I was good at logical thinking. Rush stuff. I don't know the name, but
Yeah, because it's logical mathematical intelligence. If you have that, you should be good at math.
yeah,
If
I
you're not good at
was.
math, it's because
Listen,
the educational system is
listen,
failing
listen,
you.
listen. Probably, I would have some level of dyscalculia. Probably, I don't know how to pronounce it. I just screwed the pronunciation because I would have such a hard time to do mental maths, and
Oh,
also
that's
when I
probably
would,
hypophantasia. I also have that. I'm
yeah,
actually
yeah,
pretty. I
yeah,
am
that as well.
excellent at math, or I was until ninth grade, and I stopped having it. So I don't actually know like advanced math. I don't know because I didn't study it. But up until where I studied math, it was my best subject. Like top tier student at math. That was like literally the one subject I was certain that I would get the best grade. Like I knew it. I was very good. But I had so
Yeah,
much time making calculations in my head because I could not visualize the numbers. Like, oh my god. I needed to
yeah,
write
because I was also
everything
having
down.
a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, I also have mental fog because when professors ask me, the teacher asked me the goodness, hordes now. The some multiplications. Okay, I'm going to say this. I would not know because I would have such a mental fuck because I was asked out of nowhere, and I cannot even imagine the numbers. So I was kind of like, I cannot even make the calculation now because I'm nervous. And also, here's the thing that I had when in math. I would also have I have this dysgraphia, which means that I had a hard time to write stuff intelligibly. So sometimes I would mess up the numbers. Like I would copy wrongly the numbers, and then probably uh, what is it called lettering? No, it's not lettering. It is handwriting. Okay, the
Yeah.
handwriting will be so bad that the numbers will be so fuzzy. So I would copy them wrongly, and I will get the whole thing wrong. That
Damn.
happened many times. Or I missed the signs, like I mistook the signs because also distraction as well. It was a
Oh
mix
yeah,
of
yeah. Oh,
ADHD,
that would happen.
dysgraphia. Yes,
Like
the
every
mix of
single
ADHD.
time I got a bad grade, and by bad I mean below 90%, was because I was distracted. Straight up, at math, it was just because I was
That's the
distracted.
grade,
Like
mate.
I mean,
That was I'm bad
dear,
grades
I
apparently.
would get punished if I had less than that.
I know, I'm aware. Okay, I'm kidding. I was kidding. So it was a mix of ADHD, dysgraphia, and aphantasia, mental fog. Oh, but then again, I have good logical thinking. Yeah, that's why probably I was already more decent at philosophy, which uses a lot of logical thinking, and you don't need numbers. So basically, I was that. I was basically quiet. I never participate. I will rarely participate, which is a thing that professors shame me for. The rest, I was like, "Oh, you're a well-behaved kid. You don't get into trouble. You're fine." This was me at elementary school, middle school, basically. My best
Damn.
subject was history, by the way.
Oh, that was my worst one. Like I was so bad. No, but you know why? And this is really really ableist. Like genuinely, like the worst. All the history teachers that I got would ask a question during the test. I would answer that same question to the letter, and then they would mark it as incomplete and remove points from it, because you are not supposed to just answer what the question asks you. You should go further than that and develop it. And I had no idea what that meant. It's like they ask me one question: in what date did this happen? I answer, it happened this. Or what happened in this date? And I say it happened this.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
event
or
happened. And they go like, oh, but you can't just say the date or just what event it is. You gotta
yeah,
explain what
yeah.
happened really. Why?
Which
This
is
doesn't
another
make any
thing.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the question was not uh, was only that, and you answered that because given the guideline that the question was giving you.
Exactly. I interpreted it as what it was, but they always wanted something else, but I never knew what that something else was. And I would get lower grades on certain subjects, especially history, because of this. And I just could not understand, for the love of my life, for the sake of anything that was sacred in this world, what I was supposed to answer. I would go to the teacher, and he'd be like, "Oh, but you need to say more about it. You can just stop there." And I'm like, "But what exactly do you want from me?"
Oh, because here's the thing. That's why you don't get math. That's why math students hate history, and to just answer logically, like this means this, so I'm going to answer what this question means, and
I mean, is
what it
that
wants me to
wrong?
ask.
Is that wrong?
No,
Like,
no. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It's because they think that the profile of a good history student is going to be influenced anyway. They deep know that they cannot say the dates. No, they are very enthusiastic for that. They're going to influence the whole shit. Like,
oh, but I
no, you cannot
hated
just
history because the teacher was bad, so I was not going to info them about something that I didn't like.
the teacher or the subject.
Both. If I don't like the teacher, how
Okay.
am I going to like the subject?
No, actually, there's history teachers that I didn't like, and I still like the subject.
I mean, but probably because you already liked the subject before. Because, like, at certain points, I got teachers for certain subjects that I disliked, but I liked the subject still. But because other teachers before that had already taught me how to like a certain subject, I already liked it. But here,
Listen.
I didn't. Hold on, I didn't know history
Sorry.
before that. That was literally my first history teacher, and it sucked.
Well, this is where you have a point because history was a special interest since I was 8, so it makes a lot of sense.
See.
So here's that. I forgot to add that context. So I already have some preparation before getting history classes, so it was easier to actually hit ace. Not in ace, but I got the very good grades, I would say. So, and I already know that the question would ask me more than just say the year of, for example, who discovered Brazil? Discovered, colonized. It's really colonized, not even discovering.
Oh
The
yeah, but
thing
that's how
already
it is
existed.
put in the goddamn test because
Yeah.
we
You
are
cannot just
white.
say.
Maybe some of you didn't know this, but we are both white. So like when you go to a test, it's like when was the Brazil discovered? Clearly discovered, you guys. You know
It
that's how it
was
works.
in. It was in. How do you say?
It's 1500.
1500.
Yeah,
Okay,
1500.
1500. Okay, 1500. Sorry, I. So yeah, it was basically that. That's why I was good at history. Also, Portuguese and English. Everything that had to do with languages
I was
and
actually the opposite. I was a science person.
yeah, I was a language person.
It changed over the years. I became more of a language person. I was always an art person though, which by the way was another class in which I got so much ableist shit for. Like I don't think you
No,
understand.
not David there. No, no,
For
I
me it
hate
was
that.
actually the yeah, it was that. So it's technological and visual expressions. I think that's the
No, it's
no?
oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it's not
Well,
expression. It's education. It's technological and visual education. There we go. Whatever.
yeah, it is.
Um,
It is.
Basically, it's a class where you craft and design and paint stuff. That's it. It's the arts class. It's arts. So
It's awful.
we in my class, in my school particularly, we would get assignments for the class for you to do in class, and assignments that were optional that you could do at home. And I would always do the optional ones because I was not only a try-hard student, but also I loved occupying my time with school-related subjects, and also I like drawing. So like perfect, I would do everything. But like I was terrible at the ones in the class because of several reasons. One, there was noise. Two, there was too many distractions. Three, we didn't have references to draw. So like they would ask us to draw stuff without having an image in front of us, like draw this or draw that, and I didn't
Oh
have
no,
any
that
reference.
fantasia. Yeah.
And I have hypophantasia, so I cannot visualize things right in my head. I can recall memories, but not in a way that it allows me to transcribe them to the paper. I can visualize memories very clearly in my head, but
I was
not
same
reproduce
thing.
them. I cannot. I really cannot. Like I'm very bad at that. But at home, and that's the thing. The assignments were to draw animals. I loved animals. I don't think you guys understand. I loved
I
animals.
do.
I loved all kinds of animals, and like they just, I
I
get,
think you
I
do.
have.
You identify with one.
Oh, shut the fuck up! I have like, I have like a bunch of encyclopedia with just images of animals, and as a kid, I would just go through them and just look at the images and all the animals and like paradise. And like I would just grab my books. I didn't have like I don't know if I had access to the internet at that time or not, but even if I did, I had the books. Why would I? So I would just grab all my books and search for the animals that we were supposed to draw at home, and I would copy them and paint them with coloring pencils. And I would be very good at them. Like they would look pretty realistic. Like I still have those, and I look at them and like they look genuinely good. And an adult could have drawn that. They were very good. So that I would bring them to the class, and the teachers would tell me, "You didn't draw this. You are lying. Your parents did this. Why are you doing
What
the
the?
assignments if you don't draw them?" And I'd be like, "But I drew them. I was the one
Oh
doing
my
that." And they would be
goodness!
like, "But your
Why?
work at the class is not even comparable to what you do at home." And I'm like, "Because at home I have all single time in the world that I want to do this, and I have a book in front of me and I can just copy it. And they would not understand this until like they were my teachers for the fifth and sixth grade. And at the end, or half, a little bit more than half probably, of the sixth grade, they gave us an assignment in class that was to draw a cup and to color it. A cup is so absolutely easy to draw from memory that I could draw a goddamn cup, you know, from memory. Even I could achieve such a goddamn. And I was very good at coloring, that's a thing. And I did a beautiful cup in class. And I knew it was fucking beautiful, as my animals fucking were. And I just finished the assignment and I went to the teachers. And I remember that I was struggling to talk. Like, this was probably my earliest memory of me actually feeling nonverbal while trying to talk and forcing myself to talk actively, which was me going to the teachers, putting the sheet in their desk and saying, how does it look? Asking them, how does it look? And they saying, it looks pretty well. The degradé is looking decent. That you could correct like a little bit there and whatever. Like, they're trying to be sassy with me. And I just look at them in the eyes and I say, I always told you that I was the one drawing the animals. I grab my goddamn sheet and go back to my seat to correct the things that they told me to correct.
Oh my goodness.
I was so pissed. I was like,
Oh,
I did it, motherfuckers. I proved to you I was always the one drawing this shit. It's just because, like, I was in an environment in which I couldn't perform, and I was always being told that it couldn't be the same person doing both. And I was just like, but I am.
man, you need a hug because that's sad. This is so sad. Oh my goodness. Like,
By the way, one of those teachers forbid me from entering an extracurricular activity, so like a club kind of deal outside the classes, because she didn't like me. But I forced my way in by saying that I was not going to use the materials, because the excuse was that they didn't have enough materials for every student, so like they couldn't admit more students. So I was like, oh no, don't worry, I'm just here to watch stuff, and like I'll bring my own materials when it's stuff that I can do. And that's how I learned crochet. So like all the totes that you see on my stream on the shelf were because I made my way into a class that the teacher didn't like me for, and I was just like, oh no, don't worry, I'll just be here watching and learning. And I did. That was also a thing that happened.
Jesus. Oh, so here's that. Here's the story of why the toad does crochet.
Yeah, I mean, my mom knows how to craft stuff, so like I learned the basics there, and then she guided me on a couple more things, and all of the rest I just did on my own. I'm self-taught, basically, because my mom knows how to do it. I guess that she was also so strict with cross-stitching that I just never did cross-stitching again, so I didn't want to ask her because I was scared she was going to be as strict, so I just didn't.
Yeah. It's she can be insufferable in your words.
She can be what, sorry?
Insufferable. Insufferable.
Insufferable.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying.
I said that.
Yeah, you said on Discord. Yeah.
Damn, I was probably very mad. Like, she's a nice lady. Just, man, sometimes she pisses me off.
Moods. But yeah, use that word. I'm not picking up.
Damn, I'm sorry.
I'm not picking up.
Damn. I was mad.
So sorry. So you use insufferable when you are mad. Interesting.
Unless I'm using it in an ironic way, yes. I wouldn't call someone insufferable unless I either hate the person or I'm extremely mad because of something that happened. Yes. It's not something that I just go calling people.
Yeah.
I mean, I can call someone insufferable prick out of irony, but I'll probably make clear that I'm at least half joking.
So, goodness, so you went. I'm having my brain fog. So you're saying that you have obviously ableist experiences regarding the art class. I'm not going to say the whole thing. I'm just going to say art class.
Yeah.
Uh, well, actually, art class can actually be able to also for the fact that also to happen to me because here's the thing: if you're a dysgraphic kid, like I probably am, teachers will not just understand the fact that you cannot, for as much effort and as much drawings you do, the thing will not improve. No, you'll just be like the drawings are going to be in the in the technical term, shitty. So
I mean, they do get better if you get proper guidance, which you probably didn't.
I didn't. The teachers were just negligent most of the time.
I just keep
Actually,
drawing.
I didn't like drawing that much, so I was kind of like, why am I in there? Like, I was the kid that would be, opposing the art class. Why I need this? Like, I would prefer to have theater class or something like that. I would substitute that, but I just didn't. I just had to deal with that. And actually, it was traumatic, that class, because there was a teacher that was so demanding. And she actually, one time, I was in 8th grade, I was not remembering how to do the parallels, like
Mm.
lines. It was something related to lines. I was not remembering how to do that
Yeah.
technique. I was just staring there. I was just having mental fog. God bless you.
Thank you.
So so she actually went there to my desk. She would not give two fucks about my work until that moment. And she, like a decent teacher, she screamed at me that I should go back to the 6th grade because I could not do that thing that I cannot remember the name.
Yeah, I had that happening to some
So
colleagues
it
of
was,
mine as well. I saw that happen to
yeah,
colleagues of mine.
like I was already having daily anxiety attacks because of that, because I was so afraid of that class. I
Jesus.
was really afraid on that class. Like I was so afraid of failing that class. You have no idea. Like the extent I had to do. Like I would do the assignments at 3 a.m. just because I didn't have the time in afternoon, because I probably would be so anxious. So I probably wake up in the middle of the night and do the thing when I was calmer, watching YouTube videos and such, just to do the goddamn assignment. I asked help from my dad. I actually knows some
Damn, Gen Z watching
geometry.
YouTube videos while struggling to do stuff for class. Man, I
Yeah,
didn't have that until I
I
was
was
like in college. Sorry, go on.
no, I did. I was in 8th grade. I was kind of like, how to do this. I was kind of like,
Damn,
no, this
I'm
is too
old,
this
guys.
is this is too late. No, you're not. Shut up. So and I was so afraid of failing. I have no idea. And then it not happened. I was kind of like, I shut down in that moment. Like I could not say anything, and because I didn't have anyone to help me, and that's actually a trauma because I was always very self sufficient, and that made me have to be even more self sufficient. Like not asking help for anyone. I was in my own. And this was also happened at a time that in the same year that I was suffering from severe bullying. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was piling up. By the way, bullying. Here we go. It's also a product of ableism.
That is a
So I should
whole
start.
podcast theme.
I'm going to be very we're going to be very
Touching only the surface.
so yeah, so touching only the surface. So basically the bullying was very ableist, and everyone was like, yeah, persecuted, ostracized. Uh, what else? People thought I was mentally ill several times. That I was too disabled. I was threatened of death. I was persecuted. I was insulted several times. I was beat up once. I didn't have friends. I was. It was a nice year, as you can say. 8th grade was a very nice year. Like, I'm like I said, I will touch the surface. Like, yes, I was provoked several times.
Actually, eighth
The
grade
bullies liked
was
me.
the year in which things started to get better for me.
No, it was a nightmare for me. It actually started. I got into a downward spiral after that year. So it was basically because I was too disabled. Because people just think, because I was very close to a person, the flutist. It's my nemesis. Um, no, it's a character. People think it's a character, but it's kind of a character and at the same time a real person. It's kind of like that. They were going gender neutral here. She was very unsufferable
I love how
in a
your
sense.
call decided to just cut the word insufferable. Like you could understand what it was, but it was just like robotic, and I was like, okay, you were censored there. That is ironic as fuck. I love it.
I cannot say Discord. Discord. Yes, Discord. Really, Twitch cannot say me. My goodness, I'm going a little hinge here. So yeah, she thought that she was the one that thought I was crazy, which was not helpful because when she believed that I was crazy, everyone believed I was crazy. If so, and then she thought I was obsessed with her, like I was obsessed with her or something. I mean, it could be worse. You could actually think that I have a crush on her, which was totally life. Because for Christ's sake, I have better taste than this. So but no, she because and that's what actually impacted the way that I relate to people. Because when I think that I'm appropriating someone's language, language can mean many things. Things that about the person. I'm appropriating when I'm talking, or I'm just hyperfixated on a person. I still think it's pathological. That bitch that did that damage. And that's why I depress it. Like if I think and I get self conscious about the fact that I'm getting a little too hyperfixated on a person, I stay
You
back.
said you were gonna only touch the surface.
No, that's listen. I'm connecting the dots, please. And this so to say that bullying was very ableist based, and actually, listen, there was a disabled peep that was also bullied. So here's that. Here's the ableist in education in middle school and high school.
For me, it goes a little bit more than that. Because systemically speaking, at least where and when I grew up, the way that now it's a little bit different, and I'll explain how. Which it's not better. It didn't change for better, but whatever. In the way when I grew up, like primary school was just and even kindergarten was just like very small groups of children. Like it was just from the towns around, like it wasn't a big center. So you guys, so that you guys have an idea, in my grade in primary school we were only 4 kids, and the entire school should have around 20 kids, around that. And there was also the kindergarten that belonged to the same place, and there should be around another 20 kids at most. So it was at the very most, 40 kids in school. Okay, so this was the kind of environment. And in kindergarten, I was actually in a different one that was smaller. So what I'm saying is, up until 5th grade, which was when I changed schools, I was dealing with around 40 kids at most, of my age or younger or a little bit older, but that was it. When I moved schools, when I went to 5th grade, I went to a school that had from the 5th grade until the
Ninth grade?
no, it had the high school as well. It was middle school and high school. So I had
Jesus.
kids, I had adults, I had like kids that are not kids anymore, that were 20 years old because they repeated some years. They were studying in the same school as me. I
Jesus
entered that
fucking
school
Christ.
and I went on the same bus to school as kids that were 10 years older than me. And just in my class, we were 20, almost 30. And there were in my grade only 6 classes, all with 20 plus students. Now multiply that per all the grades up until high school, and you see the amount of kids that there were in that school. In my
I'm
class,
not.
we were
Yeah.
almost as much Just in my class, we were almost as much as the kids that were in my previous school. So as you might imagine, it was a big shock for me. Suddenly I was dealing with a lot more subjects because you stop having like so it's Portuguese, which is mother language, math, and what do we call studies of the environment, which includes history, geography, biology, all kinds of sciences. And we went to an environment in which we have Portuguese, English, history and geography,
History,
arts, and
natural
sciences,
sciences.
natural sciences, and physical education, and also that bullshit of religion class whatever deal. And also you have like civic civic from a sound whatever, like a bullshit, like
It was
a campaign
it was
studies and project area, that bullshit things in which you do bullshit. I don't remember what we did there. We probably just
I'm
hanged
loving the
around.
translation. So
Yes. So basically, I have just this bunch of subjects with this bunch of kids in these loud environments all the fucking time, with kids that were just as loud as me. I could deal with myself being loud. I could not deal with other kids being loud near me when I want to work. Fuck that.
the fucking entitlement. Like, no.
I don't think you understand. Teachers would put me
I know
in
I
the
don't.
back of the class in the hope that they would forget that I exist, and then they would put me back next to them so that they could keep me under control. And it was a whole mess. But all the other kids were just like me. And that gave me a sense of normality in terms of behavior, which was pretty cool. But I was still worse than the others in most things. So like the things that got Holmes talking about my behavior still said that I was especially bad, apparently. But there were other kids that also were. But truth is, I didn't make a single friend up until I was in 8th grade. A single one.
Interesting.
I
I have
was
friends.
extremely lonely. I grew up just thinking that something was inherently wrong with me. I did have a crush, a huge crush on this poor bastard from my class. That poor soul. Like, god damn, he was probably scared of me at some point. I swear to fuck, because I was weird as fuck. But like, I was also so absolutely misinterpreted and misunderstood in that because of the way I show affection, and teachers never did anything about anything. Like, teachers were probably the only structure that still kept me sane in a way, because I could relate to teachers way more than my colleagues, and the kind of language that we used made it seem that we were closer, because I had a lot of vocabulary, which made teachers think that I was very mature when I wasn't, which is another
Same.
form of ableism. But like, just because I am mature in my language doesn't mean that I'm emotionally mature. I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I was just going through this whole mess of things. I had this huge crush on this guy, and people thought that I was incredibly obsessive to the point that I would not want this guy to be happy with someone else, and that I was just conspiring against like relationships that he had. Like, genuinely, the first friendship I made was because I was renting to another dude, like from my class, that I never talked to for some fucking reason, because he was the nerd. I guess no one talked to the nerd, which is stupid, but whatever. I never talked to the kid. No one ever talked to the kid. And the kid was just there waiting to go to computers, and I was waiting to go for the computers, and I was like, bitch, I am mad because people think that I want my crush to just break up with his fair new girlfriend. I want the bastard to be fucking happy, and people are just talking during class out loud so that everyone can hear that I don't want them to be together, and I am mad. I would never want something like that to happen. I'm not evil.
And the kid will be like, okay, bitch, okay, fine.
No, that's literally how I made my first friend. Like, he was like, okay, you need to talk.
Sir, this is Wendy's.
The nerd kid just took me to like go around the school several times. We did like 10 laps or something. I think we forgot about the computers at some point because I was just ranting about my failed crush that I had for like 5 years or something.
And they were like, what? That is wild, man. And the guy was like, okay, fine, whatever.
But yeah, like, teachers only like the teachers, the only things that they did about any of this was trying to just put me in locations that they could control me.
Hmm.
And in like when anything related to any of these happened, they would just dismiss it and just misinterpret me, because what happened really, apart from it being a crush, was that I had a special interest on this person. Like it's a thing that can happen to autistic people, is having a special interest on a person. You just want to know more. It's like a thing of like, I just genuinely, I was just genuinely intrigued and curious about him, because he was kind of a different kid when I compared to other things. Like when I analyze it from a purely rational point of view, like he dressed differently, he talked differently, and he was cool. He was different, but he was cool. I was different and I wasn't cool. I wanted to be cool as well.
Hmm.
So I kind of
Oh,
wanted to copy things that he did, and I wanted to understand him better, and I wanted to understand why he said things that he said, because sometimes he said some pretty shit that was pretty out there, and I could never understand why. Like he was wise in a weird way. Probably he was neurodivergent. I don't know. But like, that's the thing. I wanted to understand. He was a mystery to me, and I just wanted to solve it. And people just took it so wrongly,
dude,
and I would
dude,
suffer
that's big saying,
bullying
but
from
I
that.
was 15. I was 15. No, that's not. But I'm going to say next, not now. But that was also happened to me when I was
Oh yeah, it
15.
happened to me later on. Just like I was 10 when this started to happen. So,
Yeah, yeah, I'm a
hmm,
late bloomer. It makes sense. Yeah. So, yeah, so it made me think more things. Well, actually, I had friends since I was elementary school, which some of them, I was actually kind of a friendly kid. Like, I would be quiet, but I was kind of like, and this guy is apparently cool, even though there were some people that were decent and he didn't care two shits about my diagnosis, which is a little problematic to say this, but given the time that people were so having such not very good notions about autism, there were some peeps that just didn't care about and just were friends with me.
hmm.
And this happened, until like seventh grade. Things started to go shit, and I, and then the friend I had at the time, that was basically the only one, because some peeps were either they failed one year or they moved schools, so I lost peeps along the
Oh
way.
yeah.
So so I had this one friend, the flautist, that is going to ruin that. I already explained the shit fuckery that happened. Well, during that time, I still have the urge to still find friends. At the time, I was not like, I was trying to really find friends, like to not feel alone, to kind of cope. And so I found the most quiet, rejected people that I could find the class, and I made a group with them.
Oh, you were
So,
smart. I was the big dumb. I should have done that from the beginning. The nerd kid was so nice. I really like him. I still talk to him.
oh, that's nice. No, but I was, sometimes I think that I am not intelligent, but I am. Even with all the traumas and all the bullshit in my head, I'm still smart. So I did that, and I would talk to them. I would pretend that I liked all the stuff that they like. Of course, it was bullshit. So, and I was the kid that would I also knew how to pirate songs. So they would also ask me,
Damn, hell
which wa-
yes.
which was the way to get new friends. So I was
This
smart, to be
channel does
honest.
not support any kind of non-legal ways of acquiring copyrighted material. Please, Twitch, don't bring us down. We are just talking
I
about our dumb
support.
experiences.
You guys
No,
support.
we are just talking about our dumb experiences in the past. Please, Twitch, don't bring us down. You may proceed.
So no, personally, my opinion is different on that aspect. Moving on.
Please.
So yeah, I was that kid. I was, and in the ninth grade, I moved to a new school. You would think I would back down and get sad and get depressed because it's a new school. No, I would just be more ambitious. So I would just try to talk to every people that I knew. Like I would just I would spend my breaks just going to all the peeps that I knew, like, what's up? Yo, what's up, school? Whatever, how? Like, you watch the MTV Awards. I also watch the MTV Awards. How's it going, guys? Like, I would do such a great impression of a
I
cool
would
guy.
try to do that and fail. I would be so cringe, and everyone would be like, "Yes, we know
No,
you.
but
You
actually,
listen to
people.
heavy metal. Can you like shut the fuck up?" It would be stuff like that that would always happen to me, and I would be so ashamed.
No, I saw. Listen, I didn't care about that bullshit. Like sometimes I would care, but is the thing empty words like not Britney Spears, it's to or 2000. Actually, I like her. No, but actually
Yeah.
stuff like Justin Bieber and
Oh yikes!
hell, if
Sorry.
Ariana Grande. So I'll be like, yo, that's cool. A direction also cool. Like we are cool. We are cool. Yes, we are cool. So it was like stuff like that. I would have make conversation. I would establish like I would saw the person. Okay, they like this and this and this and this. So I'm going to talk about this and this and this. I would just do every single time to just win their affection, but it was in a very vain way because I lost that because people move schools and they got into other groups. I was kind of like, no, I had to try again. Apparently next year, and this is the thing. That's why I was never a great student because I would spend it's a lot of energy and time to spend like it's a lot of and then because I was pressured because that's what I said like in the last episode I think because the therapist actually pressured me to do projects. Actually, I was very good at knowing the topics they're going to talk, doing the tricks. I would just and be pretend to be cool. I knew that. I was just very unlucky in many regards,
Yeah.
and so and even then, like even now, you can still see me that part of my personality. Like, God, you're trying hard to be cool, and yeah, because because I was trying to do that. Because otherwise, I don't have friends.
Damn.
That is a very ableist, actually, because I had to pretend that I was someone else. Even until college, I had to do that. But we'll get there. So yeah, I was like that. Very quiet in classes, but very cool in break.
I was quite the opposite, really, because like that's the thing. I never felt like, or rather, for a long time, and I was wrong, but for a very very long time, I felt like the school system was built for me because
Hmm.
I was so successful. I could tell that I had colleagues of mine that were so smart and so more intelligent and so more knowledgeable about certain topics than I was, and yet they could not have good grades. Like they were average and sometimes even bad students. And oh my god, the dogs. Uh, and I was just
Sorry.
it's okay. And I was just like not that good, but I just knew how to use my mind in the perfect way to succeed. And because of that, I thought that I was just very good at exploiting the system, which was true. That much was true. But at the same time, I was not looking at how much it was damaging me, how tired I was getting, how traumatized I was getting to in order to fit in, how much of the like the when you think about it, I was never in an environment in which I could behave in a way that was sorry, that was healthy. I could never I couldn't, for example, sit on the floor to do a task, which for me would be the most natural thing to do. I would either, like at home, I would either sit at my desk in a completely silent place or with like cartoons, like in the background, or just on the floor, like of my room with the notebooks everywhere and just doing stuff. That's how I like to be. I would even do my homework sometimes during breaks so that I wouldn't have to bring it home. But I would do them by sitting on the floor with a notebook in my knees and writing stuff. That's how I like to be. And I could never be like that in a class. That would be, you know, unimaginable. Like, who would do that? And I knew I couldn't do that. I knew I couldn't take out my shoes in order to be in a classroom and be comfortable because that's not acceptable. And a lot of other
Hmm.
stuff that was just annoying me. Like I got a teacher to call me out on a steam that I still have, which is just curling my hair, like with my hands. And I got a teacher calling me out in front of everyone else because if I didn't stop doing that, I would do that for the rest of my life, apparently. And well, I do. It's a stim, it calms me down, and I need to do it. And it's not harming anyone. And she would just be very angry about it. Um, so I look back and I see how much I actually suffered, especially in terms of what kind of behavior was expected of me in terms of like the classes themselves, and I have to look back and think, yeah, no, it wasn't really built for me. It was built for expecting that people can mask as well as me and just figure out things as easily as me, because I was the reason why I was really successful was because I could read patterns very well. I could know what teachers expected of me. That was really the thing. The reason why I was a good student is because the first thing I did when I entered any class with a new teacher was thinking, what kind of teacher is this? What kind of answer does this teacher expect from me? And how do I have to answer
Uh,
in a test? That was literally the first thing I thought when I entered a class with a new teacher. And I would know exactly what kind of answers a teacher would want to have from me in a test. It's not about the information, it wasn't about how much I knew, it was about delivering information in a way that the teacher would want me to. And I was so good at reading them. That's what got me
yeah,
through the whole thing. And honestly, that's really why I felt like I was made for that, but I was tiring myself so much. And especially I was not being able to fit in terms of my behavior. I sucked at it. I was very bad. And the way that the school system is built in ways, and I forgot to say, like I said, now it's different because kids from a very early age are put in these big centers with a lot of kids, and it's just so noisy and so violent.
mm,
I don't think you understand. Like, you enter in this place with a bunch of kids and you have kids that are so much older than you, the power imbalance that happens, and the kind of it's just, people expect bullying to happen. Like, they cannot,
yeah,
it's like they want it to happen. Of course it's gonna happen. You have like this crazy amount of kids in the same space without guidance, without knowing how empathy works at all, and just let them sort it out. They want, the way they will sort it out is by the references that they have, and the references that they have are references of hierarchy and oppression. That's what happens. That's what the younger kids will get, and when they get to the top, they will just do the exact same thing. It's a cycle.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Once you
It's
have the
that's
power, you will do that to the others. You will crush the tiny ones
and
because
that's
that's
how
fucking
society
funny.
works.
That's how society works, and that's what school replicates. It's just a bunch of kids replicating these same behaviors that they see everywhere in a big center without any kind of vigilance whatsoever, any kind of guidance. It's incredibly hurtful. No one talks about
Mm,
disability. I remember that there was an autistic kid in another class, and I remember, like, when you said that, Humble, I was like, man, shame on me, because I remember that the kid didn't talk, and I was like, I wish the kid would talk to me. That would be pretty nice. But it came from a place of like, I want to be special and I want to be friends with that kid because that kid is different, not knowing that I
mm,
myself was autistic. And no one really, like, I remember asking what it was to be autistic because I didn't know. Like, and the only answer I got was that the kid was different, and I tried to gather information with other kids, like, because I couldn't really talk to this kid because the kid wouldn't talk to me. He would just like walk around like the same path over and over. Usually, that's basically the only activity I ever saw him performing. And I would get to other kids that were in his class and ask him like, "Yo, what's the deal with Pedro?" And it'd be like, "Oh, he just doesn't talk." And I was like, "Okay, being autistic is apparently not talking and just minding your own business and living in your own world. I guess that's fair."
makes sense. Makes sense.
That's
That's
literal.
DSM-5.
I mean, that's what I assumed based on what people told me. So you might imagine what my reaction was when someone asked me to my face, "Yo, have you ever considered that you might be autistic?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I talk so much." That was
I
literally
mean,
the first thing I thought, because they don't talk to you about it. And listen, we are talking about disability from a point of view of more mental, because like we are both neurodivergent, that our disabilities are not do not come from mostly do not come from a place of like being being on a wheelchair or
They're not
stuff like that.
visible.
Yeah, but the thing is, I very recently I noticed, because I more and more start to understand that I don't have as much of an able body as I thought I did.
Hmm.
And the amount of stairs, the fucking amount of stairs, I cannot believe the amount of stairs that schools have without a fucking elevator. It's insanity. It's Why would you do that? Why? Like, I don't think you understand how much I had to walk from one class to the other. The way the campus are built, expect kids to be able. The way physical education classes are built, expect you to be able. I remember having pain in pain in pain, and I only rationalized this very early, recently, because I started understanding that I don't have to deal with chronic pain for the last, like, what, 4 years. I probably had it my entire life and was just not understanding it, because I just, that's just how bodies work, right? That's just how bodies work, right? No, and I wasn't even rationalizing my
That
pain.
reception is going strong.
Yeah, but then I remember, like, in physical education classes, like, the teachers demanding more of us, and I wanted to prove myself a lot, and I was very energetic. I am hyperactive after all, and I wanted to do so
Hmm.
much, and I would constantly go beyond my body limits in order to fulfill the things that were supposedly required of me in order to have
No,
a good
same,
grade.
same.
And that's the thing. I wasn't even rationalizing that I was in pain, because I was already dealing with pain on my day to day life. And I was carrying always way too much on my back, like literally, like in terms of weight, and not realizing that it was hurting me because my body was already in pain. So it was the norm being in pain regardless. So a little bit more of pain or less wasn't really much of a difference. That's what I've been realizing more and more. And just the amount of weight that you have in your backpack to have all the books that are necessary for your class, the amount of walking, the amount of stairs, the things that are required of you in physical education, the amount of time that you have to transit from one class to the other, especially from physical education to the others. They expect you to take a shower with no
Hmm.
water temperature regulation whatsoever. Which, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake, I want to regulate the temperature of my water, because I'm gonna
And
die.
also with other people, which can might be uncomfortable
Oh yes,
in
I
terms of
was I
gender
was lucky.
dysphoria.
Oh yeah, I was lucky because we actually, for a lot of, like, not always, but sometimes we would get into a specific part of the school that had like little cabinets for each, because they were the
Yeah,
swimming
I
pool
was less
ones.
lucky.
The swimming pool ones had those, like, they had some that were individual and some that were kind of public, quote unquote. So, but we were so little girls in class that we could just like use all the private ones if we wanted to. So that was
Hmm.
nice. That was nice, but it wasn't always. Most of the time, it would be on the other ones, because there was not enough for everyone. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, I don't think you understand. I got late to classes because we got 10 minutes to get out of physical education, take a shower, dress, and be on the other side of the school. How is a kid that is tired from physical education expected to get out, do all that, potentially have to wait for other kids to just get out of the fucking water and let them have a shower and be ready for the next class? And if you don't take a shower, they will know and they will fucking punish you.
Yeah, because it smelled bad. Yeah, yeah, I sometimes I didn't even bath, and actually didn't get punished. Yeah.
No, but that's the thing. I also couldn't really go without taking a shower because I always felt very dirty. Like, I would feel
Mm.
sensorially overwhelmed by my sweat and by my smell, and I have
Yeah, you're
a
saying.
very active smell, like very boyish. In my sweat smells very boyish. Like, I'm not even kidding. It smells like the sweat of a boy. That's literally it.
Their sweat smells boyish. Make this a quote.
But it's true. Like, when you smell, like, the body odor of a guy and a girl is slightly different in terms of sweat, and I feel like mine is like the bad kind of boy.
I don't know. I'm not going to attest that, so I'm going to believe you.
But yeah, so I would be extremely uncomfortable after a while because it just smells a lot. And I really needed a shower. Like I could not get out of physical education not to take a shower, even if that wasn't required of us already. So yeah, I got late a couple times because it was literally on the other side of the school and we didn't really have much time. It was literally 10 minutes, sometimes less.
So,
And teachers
so,
didn't care if we got out late or if there wasn't enough shower.
uh, so I see. So you're talking about certain ableist aspects about anger going to schools. Well, I have some as well that I
Mm.
took note of. Oh my goodness, I'm shutting down so quickly. So, so I have a big thing, which is the evaluation. Especially written
Ah,
tests.
yes.
So,
Hello? 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 Rimby! Rimby! Where are you? Rimby! Let me summon a Rimby, guys. Not again. Yes, apparently again, Rimby. Um. Anyway, I am just gonna say some stuff about that because I also have feelings about that. I was very good at written tests. I was very bad at oral presentations, but uh, man, the time thing. I was very rushed, and because I was ADHD and hyperactive, I would just do things very fast and sometimes skip a couple questions and then get worse grades than what I should because I just didn't see the fucking question. That's fun. But I saw so many of the other students just struggle with time, like get more and more and more and more delayed in terms of like oh, they're back. Let me just finish my sentence. They would be like super late because they couldn't measure the time, and they would get worse grades because they couldn't do the test fast enough. So it wasn't about them not knowing, it was about them not being able to finish a task. Well, for me, yeah, I was very fast, but once again, I was very inattentive. Maybe I can hear you, yes. This is not Toadbot. Yes.
yeah, very much, very much. I'm so sorry. This mic thingy is repeating again. It's going down for some reason. Actually, at this time, I tried to words now to see if they are disconnecting again. But this time, actually, but then I stopped doing that because I'm shutting down a little bit.
Rimby, it's
So
so chill.
yeah,
It's so chill.
I'm actually very chill. That's the issue.
Oh, damn.
Um, yeah. So I have a thing about. So you were bad at the presentations. Well, I was kind of like not bad actually, but I'm going to get into that. So about written tests, the thing that is being very noticeable is that they rely so much in memory that you have to remember random shit. That's the thing about tests. You have to
Mm-hmm.
remember random useless shit. And they because I have such a more systematizing mind, which means that I memorize the big picture and I try to understand how it works. I might know more or less how the concepts work, what they are in very simple terms, but the teachers didn't like that. They want when I go into detail. They ask very useless questions. And it's the thing, since I learned this method of studying only, understanding the big picture and some concepts, I will not memorize random stuff because, it's impossible. It will take too much of my energies and I have other stuff to do. And that's the big thing. That's why I was probably that's why probably I'm very average student because I focus so much on the big picture and how it works, and the details, I don't because I'm going to forget them anyway. And that's how it happens. But then, because how the tests are made is so inefficient, but teachers don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear people that says that the tests are efficient. And oh my goodness, the lads are talking so loud, it's pissing me off. So today's a rough night, apparently. So and that's why probably because I have memory issues. Even with certain, I could not memorize to save my life certain things. It's
Hmm.
impossible. So I had to analyze, big picture, memorize it, and then write down a test. That's
That's
probably where
funny because I
I'm.
was like, I could memorize the big picture as well. Like, I would literally be the kid that was like, I need to understand something in order to memorize it, you know? So I would need to understand it. But then I would also memorize the details pretty well. And like, the only struggle I remember having with that was me remembering literally the page, the number of the page, the color of the page, the font, everything about where the information was, and not a specific word.
Oh, I cannot remember.
Like
Yeah,
I
I
could
could.
I could like imagine I still have pages of my books from middle school printed in my mind. Like I know how they looked like, I know the colors that they had, I know what kind of pictures they had, I know where things were kind of situated in the books, I know what they were like, I know what each subject book was like. And at that time I could tell sometimes the exact page, the exact location of a word, but I couldn't remember like the specific spelling of that word when it was a technical term. That was the worst thing in terms of memory that could happen to me, because otherwise I would just memorize the big picture like you said,
Mm.
and from there I would build everything else. Like I would memorize
Oh,
like
I
the
couldn't.
concept, and then I would just complete in the blanks, if this makes sense. That's kind of how my memory works.
Oh, see, yeah. Oh no, 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 I couldn't. To save my life. That's why. Yeah. So I got this in grades. That's why probably I was also good at history because you don't know to remember all the details. You just have to remember the big picture. What? Because it was basically cause effect. Some important characters, and that's pretty much it. You didn't know because imagine if it was like, don't know. I'm not going to give you examples. It's like it happens more in college when I would memorize the
Mm.
big picture, and also because I was not interested in the course for Christ's sake. But they would ask so many random bullshit. For God's sake, it was probably the tests were probably made for students to copy them. There's no way. Oh my goodness, there's no way to actually to know this by
Mm-hmm.
study.
Mm.
And I would get
I
so
get
pissed because
it. It happened me
I
in
don't.
college, in which I just memorized like questions word by word. Like I would memorize like literally everything and just write it word by word on the exam. I would do that. I remember that
Hmm.
being a thing.
I also did that as well when the thing was very desperate. Like, oh my god, I cannot study this. I have to memorize. If I had the questions and the answer, I
Yeah.
would memorize them. If it was that desperate,
I would do that when it was like stuff that actually was useless, like to the core, useless to the core. Because if it was somewhat like, okay, maybe I won't ever need that information in my life, but if it's somewhat interesting or at least connected to something that, kind of makes sense or whatever, I could bullshit my way, but I only felt that level of uselessness in college, really.
yes, I also felt more in college because
Hmm.
generally there are more courses that are useless. Um, so that's why I defend. Don't interrupt me. That's why I defend tests with the aid of the books of you need consultation.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I defend that, and because you're not going to remember details, and
Okay, that's
and
where pedagogy enters here. Okay, set me to not interrupt you. I'm so sorry. Go on.
um, let me finish my point, and then you go with yours. So so because you need to understand the big picture because that's how the world works. You have to know certain theory that is going to be useful, and the details, most of them are going to come with I don't know the name, but for example, sheets, like sheets with the information, like for example, reference values. For example, you don't need to memorize them. It's useless. It's such a waste of your brain energy. So what you need is consultation. You need to consult those values to then make your assessment of the situation, and then you answer the question based on your assessment of the situation. You don't need to memorize those values, and that's why I defend strongly, because that's basically the would be so useful in my life. Because here's the thing, I have such great logical thinking that I just need, most of the times when I don't remember, people think that I don't study enough, is because I don't remember the reference values, because it's a very difficult thing for me to memorize. So I would need those in my hand, and I would make the assessment of the situation, and I would get a decent grade. That's what pissed me off most of the time in college. You may proceed with your points. Sorry.
Sorry, I am very bad at not interrupting people.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Anyway, I was gonna say what you're describing is basically a problem with the shift on the pedagogy paradigm that didn't happen yet. Basically, the times changed and the education system stayed the same. Uh, our education system is built for a world that doesn't exist anymore, which is the industrial revolution world. So basically, it was done, it was a world that was very mechanical. It was very specialized, and you needed to memorize a lot of things because you didn't have searching tools. So what was expected of you was that you were a very resourceful person that could do very specific things and could be very repetitive in the things that you do. This was the status quo, which was needed for the production in the factories. But right now we live in a world that is way more information based, in the sense that everyone has access to the information, but not everyone knows how to use that information. So that's why you have a lot of conspiracy theories. Is because you have so much information, but there is no filter. People do not know how to check if something is a good source or a bad source of information. And this is not to blame the people that believe in quote unquote crazy things. It's really just a product of our times. Because the education stayed the same. Our teachers are still the same teachers a lot of times that were there 40 years ago. There are teachers teaching that have been there for 40 or more years, and they are still not retired, because the age of retirement is very late, because the average expectancy of life went up. So the age of retirement went also up, and they are still teaching in the same way that they were teaching 40 years ago. The paradigm hasn't changed, even though
Yeah.
the investigation on pedagogy has already said we need new ways of teaching that are not just a teacher giving a lecture to a bunch of students that will not listen, because kids are not sponges. They will not just absorb any kind of information that you give them. They will construct their world based on the information that they are given, especially with their peers. They will learn from each other. They will learn from what they see, and they will make what their own reality. You are not giving them your information. You are giving them resources for them to build that said information. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what this makes is that we live in a world in which you can just Google anything, but you are still being taught to memorize everything that you're gonna just find, and you are not being taught to be critical in the way you think. You are
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
being taught to have the tools to sort the information that you have. You are being given the wrong
Oh,
tools for the
that
world that
pissed
you
me
live in.
off.
Yeah, this is basically the short version for my 2 years of masters.
Listen, I was familiar with that idea. Because most of the times we learn by regurgitation. Regurgitation.
Put it this way, you'll learn more with your peers than what you could ever learn from a teacher. You'll learn
Yeah.
more from the things that you talk with your colleagues. And I'm not saying that those are the things that are going to appear in a test, but you learn more about the world by the things that you talk about with people that are on the same hierarchical level as you than from a teacher. Period. A teacher is a guide. A teacher
Okay, that's
is.
interesting.
But put it this way, where did you learn to be the way you are? Was it with your peers or was it with your teacher? Where did you learn to
Myself.
socialize? Okay,
Just
but
kidding.
yourself alone doesn't work. Of course, it was your constructed idea of the things that you
Just
got.
kidding.
But when you talk about your interests, when you talk about, things that you read or things, all those things that we teach each other, it wasn't from a teacher. It was from the people in your lives that we just relate to and that we are make friends with and the relationships that we had. It wasn't the teachers that taught us all those things. Sure, the teachers gave us knowledge and they are very important, and if you ask me, probably one of the most important jobs in the world is being a teacher. I am a teacher myself and I value a lot of the work that I do, but I don't fool myself into thinking that I am gonna, be the person that is gonna give a kid the knowledge. I am gonna give them the tools for them to figure it out. They are gonna figure it out. The best I can do is just tell them why and how. Tell them how, really. It's why they should get them and how. And they will do the rest with their colleagues, with themselves, with the things that they have around. But that is not the school system that we have.
Yeah, it's very based because you know that it's the purpose of education right now is to prepare workers, is to
Exactly.
produce
It's
workers. Yeah, basically.
the problem with
That's why the
education is
method of
capitalism. I am so surprised.
yeah,
Oh
because
no.
here's the thing. Yeah, because you spent 8 hours, and because it's basically you have to guess it's a work shift basically what the kids are doing in school.
It was so crazy. I
So
would
work.
get out of my village at 7 a.m. and come back at half past, no, at 7 as well in the afternoon every day from school since I got in fifth grade. It was 10 hours. It was insane.
Jesus. It's a work shift literally. And for you it was 10. It can be more for even for all the students as well. Depends on the transportation and stuff.
Yeah.
So, in the way that they're taught, you have this teacher that they are stand up. The kids are set. There's already a power balance established there because
Mm-hmm.
the teacher is stand up. They have this position, this authoritarian position that I'm going to lecture you, and they are very like authoritarian, in their way of teaching. And the kids are just there. They have to be stiffed. Basically, they have to be there for I don't know 2 hours. I guess what is I don't know 1 hour
1 hour and a
or 2 hours
half.
class. Like yeah, 1 hour and a half. Like, listen, I have 4 hours classes. That's why I'm messing up so badly.
Yeah, they were either 45 minutes or 1 hour and a half. And but when they were 45 minutes, there
Yeah,
was no break between them. So it's still 1 hour and a half shifts because that's the most time a brain can be focused. So they expect a kid to be able to focus for the max amount the brain can be focused on a task throughout the whole day several times. How ridiculous is this, guys? This
yeah,
is
it's insane.
insane. Why would you do this? Doesn't work. Doesn't
Well,
work.
yeah, it doesn't. Again, the school system is outdated, but then again, it doesn't have any interest to update themselves
Oh
because
no.
literally the purpose is to produce workers, not to produce thinkers,
But
not to
oh
produce
no,
criti-
but put it this way, Humble. The system would benefit from having at least a small shift, in the sense that you need the workers now to be able to work with tools that now exist and that didn't exist before. But at the same time, they benefit from having people that do not have that much critical thinking, so that they riot, so that they can actually think more carefully
They
about the
can
system that they live in and do something about it. That's what I meant, clearly.
and
So
unionize. You and I know that they don't make unions. No,
so
they don't
they
make
gotta sacrifice some
strikes.
things, so
Yeah.
they sacrifice productivity, or rather the abilities of their workers, so that they then have to overwork themselves to compensate for the abilities that they didn't get at school. Hello. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. As a teacher, I hate every single thing about this, and I am so the teacher that sits the entire class. I do not stand up during classes. First, because I don't have that much of an evolved body, and second, because I dislike looking down on kids. I just dislike it so much. I sit the whole time, and when I can sit on the floor with them, I do. I
Yeah. So So it's that because you have this already difference in the established between the teacher is stand up and the kids are sit down, paralyzed. Basically, they only do the task. The other thing is, and I forgot about this for Christ's sake. Ah,
Sorry, Toad doesn't know when to shut up.
I had because it's a very interesting topic for you apparently.
It is. I am a fucking teacher. And I am autistic, and we
Yeah.
are talking about ableism in education, and I'm like, I was a student, and I am a teacher, and I have so many things to say. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Ah, that is good. That is good. Ah, God, I should have taken note of that.
Sorry.
So basically, the teacher is there. They teach the class, isn't it? And ah, the discipline. That's what I wanted to say. Right. What was my point? The discipline. They have to establish discipline. Oh, there you go. There I have it. So they establish a sense of discipline,
Mm-hmm.
which again, an obedience, which is again very useful for the formation of workers because they have to be obedient and they not question certain exploitative methods. In the same way that school teaches, which is again, which unless you change the purpose of the school, the system is not going to change. Even if you just said like, oh no, workers need tools. Like yes, but then again, nowadays I noticed that even schools made it that small shift. At least the ones that I know, like they have a slightly more collaborative approach,
Mm.
but not that much.
Yeah, not that much. Never that much.
Even in college, yeah, even in college,
Oh
you
no,
have
no.
this.
Academia is
They
a whole
proclaim like
thing.
we this is that I suppose that is another can of worms. What I'm talking about is like at least my college proclaim that we have such a collaborative approach, and in certain ways they kind of have, but most of the time it was lectures, like literally, and
Yeah.
I hate them.
Listen, when I said academia, I meant that this power structure that is above the students, like the teacher themselves, they belong to academia. So for as much as they want to get out of it, it's very hard. And that's really my experience as a teacher. Like I was giving classes in a conservative institute this school year since November until May, till I got sick. I was going to get out of there in the end of the school year regardless because I love the kids. The kids were absolutely lovely, and I really felt like some of them saw me as a friend figure, like a kind of big sibling. It was pretty sweet. I really liked a lot of the part of the experience of it, but at the same time, I was getting sick because of a lot of things. First, the infrastructure of the
Mhm.
classrooms made it so that if two students were talking very softly, I could not give a class anymore because there was too much noise and I would start melting down because it would just make this muffled sound. Like the classroom the ceiling was too high and it echoed too much. And because
Mhm.
of that, and this was a classroom that was supposed to be for music, was absolute hell. I would get out of there with so many headaches. It's just huge headaches. So many times. That was one of the things. But this was like the most sensorially obvious thing. And like I did have a couple neurodivergent kids, and one of them was very noticeably autistic. And although his mom says he isn't autistic because special needs mom knows better because her kid is not like the other autistic kid, so clearly that kid could not be autistic. My god, he was so fucking autistic. Like stereotype of the autistic kid. I really don't understand that one, but regardless, the kid would have constant meltdowns in my class because colleagues would talk and that would be too much noise for him. And like the kids were just being kids in a classroom, they were not particularly misbehaving. I felt bad for having to call them out for being quiet so much because it's a music class. You are going to make noise and you're going to talk. You're going to ask your colleague about something that I said and you didn't hear or whatever, like that's going to happen between kids and that's healthy even. And I had to stop them. I couldn't have the means for them to even have a healthy classroom environment. That is the first thing. Second thing, because these kids have up until that moment only been dealing with fear in the classroom, with authoritarian, they would not listen to anything else. It gets to the point that if you try to be too understanding with them, they will not listen to you. And you give them your hand and they will take your entire arm, as we used to say in Portuguese. They will do anything they want with you because they are just so used to this approach that you will need to lecture them. And it pisses me off that these kids that are like 10, 8, are already so in this system that they will only stop once they feel like you're mad and that they're gonna get punished and they get scared. It's a moment where they stop. And it doesn't need to be like that if they are already used to a system that just, embraces them. Because sometimes I could make them understand this and it would work. And I knew that if all teachers did this and if this was the norm, they could do this. They were open to it. But then they would get, yet again reinforced that that's not how it works in other classes. So for as much as I, as an individual a teacher, want to have that kind of environment in a classroom, sometimes I couldn't because they were already conditioned to behave in a certain way. That was very frustrating. And with younger kids, I could just, kind of go around that because they're smaller. But even then, kids from the first grade, second grade, and they get to the end of the class and they ask me, "Teacher, did I behave well?" The thing that they have to ask me is if they behaved well. These kids are 6 and 7 years old. Now I genuinely question everyone. What kid would question this if this isn't what they were being enforced with? A kid that gets out of a music class in which we were playing and clapping and singing should not come to me to ask if they behaved.
Jesus fucking Christ.
But this was what I was dealing with. I was dealing in a school in which when the director enters the classroom, they stand up and the director asks who he is and the kids say, "This is the director of our school."
It was a strict school, wasn't it?
Sick.
Yeah.
It's sick.
It was like it wasn't a Catholic college. Sorry.
I mean,
School.
it's not. How do I say this? It wasn't explicitly a Catholic school, but pragmatically speaking, it was a very Christian-based school. It was very conservative, basically.
Yeah. Okay, it was a religious one.
I had a trans kid coming out to me, and
This happened, guys.
Yeah, I was literally the only teacher that knew this. I was the only teacher that was gendering this kid correctly and calling him by his actual name, the name that the kid chose after 6 months of thinking about cutting his fucking hair off and actually doing a fucking cool haircut and going all confident to school. And I was actually just so proud of that kid. Like, damn, I am here for hiding from my superiors that I'm non-binary, and this kid is just here going like, "I am a boy," and I'm like, kudos to you. God fucking damn it, you are so fucking cool. I like this kid. But like, that was the most progressive thing that happened, and even then, that kid was just, he came out to me. No other teacher was calling him by his name.
I mean, progressive things happen in conservative schools.
Oh yes, but the system was oppressing that as hell. That kid was not. That kid was never. Wasn't even correcting his colleagues when they misgendered him. He was just still being very quiet about it, to the point that I just at some point I asked him again, like, "Yo, are you still going by he him pronouns, or is your name still this name that you told me, like, just because I'm asking this because I see that your colleagues are not using it, so I'm just wondering if, you either feel different about it now, or if they are just not respecting it, because it was feeling very out of place that literally every kid except for one kid was still misgendering him and dead naming him. That was very weird. I could not compute that.
That's a strange reality of trans people. We just live by different names, different identities.
I have like
Because we
3 different
are.
names. My dead name, the name that I
Yeah.
used IRL with Peeps, and Toad, which is my online name, which honestly is probably the one that I identify the most with. It's just Toad. It's just people call me Toad, and I'm like, what?
I have 5. Now I noticed, like, I have 5.
You have
Now that I
5?
counted them.
Wait, are
I
you
have
counting
5.
abbreviations of
So.
your actual? Are you
No,
counting?
no,
No.
no, no.
Wait.
No, no, no.
You
I'm
have your
not
dead
counting.
name.
I'm
You
counting.
have
Dead
Sebastian. You have
name.
Rambo. And what?
I have Brain, and I have a Poet, I think. Poet is kind of like the last one. Like,
Yes. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I have my Twitch name, which is already which was the name that was going
Yeah.
before the Rumble. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
going before
Several audition. Yeah.
with some
You're right.
peeps.
You're right.
Yeah, I
I
have
forgot about
5.
that. I was
Which,
forgetting about that.
no problem, because it was really in the before times.
Yeah.
So it was with other non-binary peeps that I was going with that name. I still go though. Don't worry. Just call me Sarah na mesma.
Listen, kind of same in the sense that, like, unless you that name me, like calling me Makoto is totally fine. Like, I will answer you.
I also like Toad though.
I also really
I like
like
Toad
Toad.
as well.
It's more
I like
recent, but
Toad.
it
I mean,
feels
I'm
nice.
being. So you have Fiddler Toad for me, the Toad. I mean, I like Toad so well as well,
I guess
because
it's just like
anything,
I
it
made I
fits you
made
so
friends
well.
here on Twitch.
Yeah.
I made friends on Twitch, and sometimes it's just like I enter a stream and people are like, "Toad," and I'm like, "That's me!" Like on the other side of the world, I'm like,
Yeah, that's good. That's
"Oh, I'm
good.
here." Yeah, like it feels nice, and I guess like having friends really talking to you and using a name in an affectionate way, like,
Also, by the
feels
way, you
really
pronounced
nice.
it wrong. Yeah. It's really nice. I don't know what people call me. Sorumbo. Okay.
Yeah, mostly that. Yes.
Mostly that. They have a struggle to pronounce my name. It's a thing. Ironically, I
Even
have
you
more
have a struggle to
issues.
pronounce your name.
Yeah, I know. But I don't have any problem. But then,
You have an R
but
in the
then,
beginning of your name. Sorry, guys. For
I'm
context,
broken. Yeah.
Humble has a hard time pronouncing the letter R, and they have an R in the beginning of their name. That's like hilarious. I'm just dying here. I'm fine.
Because how I pronounce it, like I don't do the R sound that much. Yeah, I don't do that much. Like I will be Rambo, but
Yeah.
I just pronounce it like I don't roll with R basically. So I'm going
Mumble.
Rambo.
Mumble. Sorry, a
Shut
little
up.
bit of a coldie
So
here. No, that was a coldie. That was me not me making
actually,
fun of you. Sorry.
so Sebastian, actually, it is a name that I have more issues when people pronounce it because it's supposed to be the Spanish version. When people just pronounce it with the English version, I was going like, no. Then go with Rambo. I don't mind if you botch the pronunciation. At least I don't
Rumbo,
get mad. But
Rumbo,
Sebastian,
Rumbo, Rimbo. Sorry, I see so many people struggling with that and just going like that on and on. It's so funny. It's so cute.
I don't know how to pronounce. But then Sebastian will be like, no, you have to pronounce it right. Or if I don't pronounce, I'm not going to use that name with you. Never mind. Rambo is fine for me.
Or just go with
So that's
Seb.
why I know. With Seb as well. I just have so many names for Christ's sake. Because I don't mind not just having one name. It would be so reductive of me just having one name. Because I have so many personalities going on.
Yeah.
This
Oh, by
sounds
the way,
so.
did I ever tell you that trans
So
kid actually had a male second name? So, like, in the dead name, like, so this is a thing in Portuguese names. Like, you can name a girl with a boy's name if it's a second name, and the same way around with boys. Like, usually it's Maria for boys. It's like something Maria, and Maria is female name. So this boy here, he had like as a dead name, like the second name was a boy name, and he just straight up decided to go with a completely different name, and I'm like, so based. So based. He was like, fuck that. Like, I know my second name is like a
No, I'm
boy's
going to
name,
choose
but I
my
don't
own
care.
name.
I'm gonna choose my own name. Fucking based. Ah, man, he's so cool.
Fucking
I love
child,
that kid.
fucking based. Yeah.
I don't have favorite students.
Yeah. You don't have.
I don't
That's good,
discriminate.
actually.
I do not discriminate in my classroom though. Like if like of course I do have favorite students. But that's also a thing that I notice so much is that like teachers, a lot of times so noticeably have favorite students, like outwardly. Because
This is going to be those podcasts. Just keep going.
Charlie.
It's just funny, you know. It's just like, but I have this thing to add, actually, you know, because I'm teacher. Just go, keep going. I'm just kidding, just trolling you. Just go.
But like it's true. Like teachers will just have this one or two kids they like a lot, and this one or two kids that they really dislike, and they will make it very outwardly. And like as a teacher, yes, sometimes there's like this kid that I'm like, oh my fucking god, I swear to fuck, if you open your mouth again, I am gonna throw you out the window. Like, it happens, okay? Sometimes there's just this kid that is absolutely insufferable. Like, there is no way around it. The kid sucks, okay? I will still defend that kid with my life, but oh my god, please, for all that is sacred in this world, just stop whatever you're doing. Like, it will happen. But what I don't understand is bullying a kid, saying stuff like outwardly in front of everyone else in a class, which teachers do a lot of times, and like then the opposite, like having kids that they just love because they are just genuinely very nice kids and just very nice students, and they will just very obviously just benefit these kids, just straight up give them privilege, when I feel like the other kids are the ones that actually need it the most. I feel like I have to give way more to the kids that I don't like than to the kids that I like. Like the kids that are kind of hard and sometimes really very, oh my god, what do I do with this kid? Are the kids that are actually going to demand more of you, and sometimes they end up surprising you the most. I feel like this. I have an example of a kid. Like this one wasn't a kid that I particularly disliked or anything. Like he was just a little bit problematic in other classes, but he was actually average in my class. He was just not very much of anything. Like he wasn't too good or too bad, but all the other teachers complained about him a lot. Like he was this kind of demon. I don't know. Dude was fine. Dude just really needed someone to tell him, I believe in you and you can do stuff. He was such an like, as classes went and as I noticed that he needed a little bit more of attention, he just became a kid that like just genuinely enjoyed the class and actually came asking for more. He's actually a kid that knows me online, knows me here on Twitch. He doesn't understand English, so I'm like, he will not listen to this ever, but but like he actually was at my streams because I have several kids that actually did that, in the sense that I feel like they connected with me because I gave them a chance to just be students and not be the kid that always gives trouble. I feel like you gotta really give a lot more to the kids that are not quite there yet, or that they are just really hard, that sometimes you might not even really like them at first. At least they will more often than not surprise you, and I don't understand why
Turn
teachers
around. Like, yeah.
Most teachers will just
Also,
cast
because
them aside
probably.
even more.
Yeah. That's what they do. That's why they never turn around. But when you change the approach, they do, actually. That's what I'm understanding.
You sometimes really
So
gotta believe in these kids and understand what they want. This one kid that I'm talking about, he just really likes puzzles, challenges. I just had to present music to him in a way that it felt like he was solving a game. He loves games. That was it. That's all he needed. And me to tell him, you are not less than anyone else and you can do stuff. You just need to start doing stuff. And he did. It was as easy as that.
Your technique, yeah.
He was actually a super easy kid to deal with. Like, genuinely.
So basically, you did the whole technique of adding the special interest into the learning process.
Yes, which apparently was a big shock when I told the other teachers in a meeting to do that. And they were like, oh, holy shit, this actually is working with this kid. I was like,
oh my god. They went that. They went the surprise Pikachu face meme.
They went surprise Pikachu face in the moment that I said, well, because we were talking about, the kids that were more problematic. And I was just like, one of them was actually a little bit of a problem in my class still. So I didn't really touch that and I didn't want trouble. I'm not gonna lie, I just didn't want trouble. But I was like, with this one kid though, he's like top tier student in my class. I don't know what you guys are talking about. And they were like, the actual me.
Worth it.
And then I was like, I explained what I did, and they were like, oh, yeah, that could work. And I'm like, yeah.
Wait, I'm a genius.
They actually wrote in the notes of the file of that kid on approaches to have with him what I was doing with the kid, and I was like, fucking finally. It's really just ableism, okay? The kid has trouble writing. The kid has a terrible notebook because he can't fucking write straight. He probably has some kind of dysgraphia or some kind of motor problem.
Yeah, most likely.
The kid write, but that's a thing. In my class,
oh, I have a thing to say actually.
He wrote
I have the thing to say.
Go.
Yeah, actually, I need to say. Okay, you touched the dysgraphic. I'm going to touch the dysgraphic. So I am probably dysgraphic because this happened when I was writing compositions, essays on Portuguese English classes, and I was so good at them. Like you don't understand. I'm appropriating total lingo here. So you don't understand. I aced those essays. You got to understand. So most of the time it was like 90.8 out of 20 points. 90.7 out of 20. Okay, it was the grade. And the thing, and one time there was one say that I also aced, almost aced, because it was 90.7 out of 20, was because I didn't draw correctly letter. I cannot remember which. And the teacher was just like, I can understand this word, what this word really is. And the word was really obvious what it was, given the context of the sentence. It was very obvious. But she was like, what is this? I don't understand. I'm just going to discount 0.3 points from you
stupid.
Because I was kind of like, and then I was kind of like, okay, why I had again a 90 out of 7 because what is this? Girl, you could read this. Why? You didn't give a 20 because I didn't draw correctly a letter. The essay was perfect. I just put my effort on this. Like, it was an essay about something, I don't know, it was probably politics. And so they couldn't understand the letter.
God damn it. Another thing.
I was so pissed at the teacher.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because like that does feel. I mean, I do remember.
It was because I was dysgraphic.
I remember having like a bad grade at math because I didn't put like the data before actually solving the thing and giving the answer. So I just put the calculus and the answer, and because I didn't put the data before, I had the entirety of the test correct, but I didn't put data on anything. Therefore, I got 80 something percent. Like, that's how much it went down my grade. I had everything correct, but I didn't put the data. I was like, bro, why? I don't need that. oh, but you need to do everything. I'm like, but that's not how my brain
Well,
works. I don't need that. Why would you make me do
but
that?
that's the protocol. That has
But
to do
fuck a
the protocol.
protocol. You know another thing that
Don't
is a
understand. You're
complete.
too autistic.
I
You
am
have to
so autistic.
understand the protocol.
Oh fuck's sake! Fuck the protocol.
Yeah.
And another thing that is a violence, and like I didn't feel this as much because I wasn't even rationalizing that I was having trouble speaking when I was nervous. Because how could I possibly, you know, have trouble speaking when I myself talk so much? Like it wouldn't make sense logically speaking, except it does. But whatever. Oral presentations. Can we talk about all those kids that cannot talk in public, that are so smart and that they get very bad grades because they can't fucking talk in a pressure kind of situation, but you gotta, because in your life you're gonna have to do it. Why?
Actually, I did fine. Actually, I did fine
I also did
because
fine
let me.
mostly, but it's so shitty.
Yeah, because it was I interpreted as a kind of performance. Like, okay, I had to memorize the script. I'm going to perform it in front of the class. I was kind of like it was like that. But of course, I would get sucked by in the grade because in grading because I would have a weird posture, and teachers were so pedantic about the fucking posture.
You are talking to the
And
public. You gotta do the thing where the public gets interested in you, and that means that your shoulders have to be straight.
most of the time it was just straight, but actually I have a problem with my, if you notice, if I stand up you may notice that I have my, what is it called, knees. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
knees, they are a little
Bent?
bent, yeah. So, and people would have trouble with that because they would be like, what is wrong with your posture? You have your knees too bent.
Have you never
What
seen a
is
bent
wrong
knee?
with you?
It's what I
Yeah,
feel like
you
asking
bent
them.
your knees in church. Yeah.
Have you never been to church? Have you never bent your knees to
No,
pray? Can I bend my knees? I am not
no,
praying.
but
So I need to bend my knees somewhere. Sometime.
yeah. But this is actually now I'm thinking. I need my bends. No, I'm thinking that my weird posture. My bends. No, 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 no,
I
no.
need my bends. I need my
The poet here is having. I know it's ironic, but the poet is having a hard time with words.
The
Ironic, I
poem is
know.
having a hard time
So
with poets.
the poet, not the poem. I hope you are having a nice time because I'm not. Just kidding.
I'm just gonna
Just
rock my
kidding. Just
body
kidding.
as a
Just kidding.
stem.
Oh,
Yeah.
pichu. Okay. So, so, so I would have such a weird posture, and I would also have talk a little soft because it's again thing. I would have our time to actually speak a little louder for people to hear me because I was still very shy. So, and I would not make as much eye contact. Like I would fix it my stare at something, and I would just do the performance. Yeah, it was a performance. Not even going to lie. Uh, I was doing a speech basically. I don't memorize the whole thing, and people were impressed by how I did memorize the whole thing. Like it was with such passion. Sometimes I would do it some such passion that people got a little impressed. Because I have one mate that tells me like you looked so professional. You look like a lecturer. I was kind of like, thank you. It was
Damn.
years of not years, days of. No, I practiced
It's
a
been
lot
84
just
years
yesterday.
of
No,
practice.
no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I had to make the dissertation remark since you talk too much. Just can't talk too much. No, sorry, no talk too much. Because you talk for a lot for
Please go ahead. I
so
already got the call
yeah
out.
yeah.
Yes.
No, not too much. I'm sorry. It was wrong words. I said I'm going a little hinge here. I don't have no filters right now.
Yay, me
So,
neither.
we don't have filters. Take the time. So, because the tone that the way I'm speaking English, like the pronunciation, the accent, I got and also my tone cadence, my overall speech is with years of practice. Really, I just did a lot of practice. I record myself. I did exercises. I did everything to actually not stutter as much. I did things to not appear less disabled in terms of speech, which I still have, and I still have people complaining me about my speech. What?
You said to not appear less disabled, to not appear more disabled.
To not appear more. Oh my goodness, I'm having your time right now. To appear less disabled. That's to appear, not to not. You got it. So basically that. And I still got people until very recently. Someone had the very wrong impression of me that I have a speech impairment. God, I just failed.
I mean, you when you are nervous, your speech gets very muffled. But for example, today when you got on call, I don't think I ever heard you that as clearly as I did, and like that was mwah, like damn, the diction, like damn, that was good.
What? Yeah, because I'm tired.
Oh, so you're tired, you become better at speaking. Wow, I want those powers. Please tell me how you do that, because I am always tired and I want to I want to be better than what's happening right now.
No, it's because I'm probably shut down, So
But shouldn't shutdown make you not speak?
it's a different type of shutdown because I feel like my energy is going somewhere because my legs and arms just become really heavy, and I was having afraid of falling shut down just when you're talking, not because you were talking, but because I was literally like, "Whoa, my goodness, something is hitting me again." Because it's been a thing for days now. Actually, I shut down reading the goddamn book twice.
Why are you still reading that goddamn book? Context, guys. Humbo is reading a book that is very bad, that makes them shut down, that they hate, and they do not stop. They read like 2 pages a day and get shut down out of it, and they keep going. Please tell Humbo to stop.
I read 4 pages yesterday.
Oh, okay, good. That's double the average, okay, guys? They did it.
I know, because this is a very interesting book. I promise. This is very
Just go read
interesting.
Homestuck.
No.
I am not imposing. I am not imposing my hyperfixations of special interests on other people at all. Me.
No. So
not ever.
then watch Portrait of an On Fire, you dipshit.
Because I haven't been able to turn on my computer. I mean, I did today, and I played a little bit of a game that I've been trying to play for like 2 weeks now.
Then turn on the fucking television.
What? How? Do you know where the television is? That is not an option. It's
just
switch on my computer or not, then I cannot turn on my computer.
Just get. Oh, sorry. I'm being a privileged fuck right now, guys. So I need the call out now. I need to be roasted and own because I am
going to own this podcast again as revenge. So about public presentations, it's like with me, it was fine in the sense that like at first I was very nervous and I was performing very badly, especially in music oral presentations, like the theory ones. I was extremely good at the written ones, but then I would get to the I say terrible, and it's like 16 out of 20. But like that was bad for me. I was but like I was struggling, okay? I swear I was struggling and I was just underperforming a lot. I would get out of there. I was like, I could do so much better than this. I could easy, if I was calm, get a 20, and I couldn't. And like I felt like that was putting me behind. And I guess that like I do so like for me, I'm still talking from a kind of pedantic point of view, but I do see a lot of experiences from other people, like online, saying that they straight up gave up college because of public presentations. This is a thing way more common than you could ever imagine, and I just hate it so much. It's like people that are genuinely competent and that they have serious trouble, like mental illnesses or conditions or neurodivergencies that stop them from being able to do public presentations, they have a paper from a medical professional saying that they really cannot, or that it's very hard for them and to get accommodations for that. And the college is like, nope, fuck you.
Yeah, and they can't do it. Actually, there was a girl that happened to that, that she actually, the college refused it. She had several mental illnesses, and she was not able to do presentations, and then she committed suicide.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
way this happens way too often. It's awful.
yeah,
Why are we doing
itself.
this to students? Isn't the point
Yeah, I mean,
to
yeah.
make them able to be to get them the tools to do stuff? But if there's something that they cannot do, why not give them other tool that counters that thing that they can't do?
Yeah, and okay, we are starting to touch on the stuff that I want to say, but okay. So, uh, I think I think my actually I've been struggling to do more presentations lately because mostly of my trauma, not even because of my disability, because presentations were just fine for me. Like, yes, it
Trauma
was
creates
hard.
disabilities, though, Humble.
Yeah. Okay, I would rephrase it. It's this my already pre-existing disability. Better.
Yeah.
Okay. So because PTSD is a disability. So so what happened was, I don't know if I can touch this because I have academic ableist trauma. I don't know if you have those, if you have that. I don't think so. That you have that because you were that level ableist trauma. I don't think you have, like, in terms of academia. Um,
No, my trauma comes really from the
no.
place of having to always succeed rather than what you're
Yeah,
describing.
to is what I think. Yeah, because you know, if you're getting, because
Mm,
Jude mostly was forced to perform to perform
yes,
at
the
the top of
only
class.
actual
Yeah.
problematic stuff, like hardcore problematic, was the amount of stuff that I was supposed to be reading, and I cannot focus on reading. I cannot read stuff that is not written in a way that interests me. Like I can read
Mm.
fiction very easily and very fast if I get into it, but reading stuff like the way it was put, academically speaking, it's very hard for me, and I cannot focus, and I cannot like diagonally read it like I do with most things, even fiction, because I will just not be able to understand because it's a different kind of lingo, and I was required to
Yeah, yeah.
read a lot, and I would constantly get anxiety out of it. I just could not read,
Oh,
and I
that's
had to read
is
in order to
this. Yeah,
perform. That was like super
yeah.
hard. My ADHD was not allowing me to read stuff, and I was forced to. And to do a
That's
thesis,
fucked
I
up. I
bullshitted my
mean,
way so much, guys. Like, I bullshitted so much.
I couldn't even believe it. Like, because I was you didn't read the whole thing. Because for me, yes, I can understand that you didn't read the whole thing, like all the articles. Like, yes,
Oh
I don't
no,
do
there are
that.
stuff that I just read the
But
introduction and the result, like not the results,
yeah.
the
We same, it's
discussion,
same.
and I
Yeah, because
just
the
cited it.
introduction, the discussion, the conclusion. Yeah, yeah, whatever. I actually don't have that much trouble with articles. You know, I'm very famous, you know, as the person that tries hard with the articles,
I cannot.
which can be which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Um, and there's a thing, my degree doesn't. You know, there's a focus on that, but then again, it's mostly like practice, which is kind of like, can I just have more courses with more articles reads? Because that's so much easier than having stupid exams with stupid questions and fucking internships that have such a specific criteria. So, and I'll be just fine with articles reading. I can read like 20 per, okay, not per week, but of course per month. I think a per 20 articles per month would be very fine for me. Anyway, so getting to the point. Um,
I
because
cannot read
that was a
20
tangent.
articles a year to save my life.
probably already read 20 articles by this point. Like probably by April, I already read 20 articles.
I know, but
I'm
the lingo is too like
yeah,
it's
I
not hard.
understand. I
I
understand
can
because
understand
it's
if I
it.
had like a text to speech kind of tool available at the time,
Oh yeah.
I could have done
Mm-hmm.
it. I can listen to
Mm-hmm.
things, and I
Here's
that's
the
the thing.
thing.
It
Yeah.
allows me to multitask. I can just listen to it and be doing something else completely entirely, and my ADHD will love that. But I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
the tools at the time. I didn't even
Yes,
know.
there's actually Chrome extensions with
But I
text to
didn't know.
speech.
I didn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
No
I
one told
understand.
me, and I was too overwhelmed to
Oof.
even understand anything, and I was just struggling. I didn't know. I was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sleeping an average of 4 hours per night at some point during my masters to get my thesis done on time. So, and I mean average, and I mean that the all the
I
other the other time during the day I was either working, eating, driving, or any combination of these three. Sometimes I was both. I was driving, working, and eating at the same time. I kid you not. That those were things that happened. I do not
my
recommend that
thesis is
to
another
anyone.
story.
I mean, it's still
uh,
ableism in education because I was only having to do that because of the education system that put me in that
yeah,
situation,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that was
yeah.
expected of me somehow.
But that's it's stressful. It's like it's ethic. It's bad for your health. Uh,
There's a
well, my
reason
thesis is
why I can't work now and I have health issues, and I am just locked inside my home trying to make a life with Twitch
Here's the
and getting my
thing. Yeah,
money
yeah,
solely
yeah,
through
yeah.
Twitch. That's it.
Yeah, that's the beginning of story of Toad's journey. Well, my thesis is also it's a shameful thing to actually say. So the thing also got delayed. This is I feel so shameful because of this. Well, it only happened because I stopped for 3 months. I could not get out of to do things. It was impossible. Jesus Christ. No. Things is going. So, and there's a thing. Actually, I got that. There's a thing that also happened because of ableism, because that has to do with actually my trauma. That's why, for the fact that I got 3 months stopped. But getting to the ableist trauma itself. So during my college years, like I was also like already read as the strange peep. Especially given the fact that I'm in the health science degree, which already requires you to have a certain profile, which is you have to be communicative, empathetic, whatever, caring, whatever, and also you have to know some theory and how to treat patients, basically. So, and
I
here's
don't
the
think so.
thing:
I
I
have
am
a
extremely
professional that could do
empathetic.
that. Sorry,
In theory, Toad. In
they
theory,
need to give the vibes that they could do that, even though they will never.
yeah. So, but and again, and it emphasizes the fact that I had to communicate, which is very interesting because I just remember one time in my internship when I was just dealing with patients, like I was doing an exam, and I just have, I made myself as a protocol. This is not protocol for the interns. This was really me making a protocol for myself, and I had the protocol. One of the steps of the protocol was asking the patient was fine because literally you had to do. The patient had to be inside the cabin, which can be a little claustrophobic and just awful. Can be a little awful being there, and probably the person might be autistic. Probably they would have a hard time there. So I would ask the patient if they were okay after certain exams. If not always, I would just ask halfway. Just one check will be fine. And then this supervisor, she was so nice because she asked me why you do that. If they're why you ask if they're fine, and I just said with such a very assertive tone, almost passive aggressive to be honest, because I didn't like her. uh, I think that's our mission, that's our purpose, to treat the patients. We had to ask if they're well. That's the purpose, I think. She didn't say anything more. She got on. Because here's the thing, that's such like you ask me to be communicative, you ask me to be empathetic, and then you just ask me why I'm doing that. the exact thing that they expect from me to it.
Yes, but that's in the way that they expect you to do it, and their perception of being empathetic and communicative is. If it's not
It's
normative, then
different.
it's wrong. Duh.
It's different. Yeah. So, and they will make such a very clear that I had my communication was not normative. Was, for them, they don't say that my communication is not normative. They just say that I have communication struggles. So, because I was not making that much eye contact, which they emphasize a lot about the eye contact, which is just, it's but anyway, I would make eye contact with the patient anyway, but that's beside the point. The point is, during classes I would be very overwhelmed, and that's what they would get the most impression of from me. It's kind of like, okay, this person, they don't communicate very well. They just have this. They distance themselves in class. They kind of speak a little soft spoken. They have a weird posture. Uh, they're going to be a healthcare professional. That's what we probably thought. Because one time there was a professor that didn't ask me directly. They asked a couple of friends of mine at the time. They said like, "Yo, listen, they have some kind of psychological problem." And then they told me, and I was so pissed because the fucking audacity of this professor. They didn't ask me directly because if they asked me directly, and it probably not it, they probably would think like, okay, but you need some assistance, you need some help from me. No, they just asking my friends, just kind of like they want to know the tea. They just want to spill the tea or something. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And that was the bad thing that was going on, that was going to happen. And because there was one time, this when the thing happened, is like I was too overwhelmed one time. I remember perfectly late. It was a winter day. It was kind of cloudy. I had to drive myself to the hospital, which was already a large distance. It was a long distance by the time, because I was a recent driver. It was months after I got my driver's license, so it was like a very risky distance. So I had to drive it because the public transportation was a little. It was COVID time, so it was a little not very viable. So I drove myself there. It was long distance, and there was a lot of stuff going on. Like the parking was too expensive, but I had to pay the fucking parking even though I was interned there. So I entered into the hospital. This was a private hospital. I got so fucking confused because the fucking hospital was there was a lab like kind of a maze inside of it. Like that's only restricted from the employees. And I was there and I got changed, and then I went there to the fucking office. And then I was kind of like, yeah, I got introduced. Like I was not really talkative in that time, like, which was fine because it was my first time. Probably, I was a little semi-verbal. And I don't know. And then after that, after a few 4 hours, I think I was not doing that much. I was just observing the exams, which I think it was the thing that I was supposed to do. They didn't give that much guidelines, which is a thing that I hate about certain when it comes to internship. If they don't give me fucking guidelines, I'm going to get so fucking pissed because you expect me to. Listen, I don't want to break boundaries, but then again, if you don't give me guidelines, I'm going to, of course, my attitude is to, be the most safe and not breaking those fucking boundaries. So that's what I hate about neurotypicals. They're not very clear in their communication, and I function better by the guidelines. And then they complain to me, and now 4 hours after, like, you're not being communicative. You don't communicate. Do you have any mental condition or something? And it's kind of like, and that was the first time that I ever realized to a healthcare professional that was not that was outside of the primary care that I received when I was younger. Like this was the first time that to someone, I'm autistic. Mate, I could not lie at the time. It was very obvious not lie. Like if I lie. So, but then again, before that, because they didn't cancel the internship after I said that I was autistic, they already was thinking like, we're going to suspend internship because I think that you're not prepared.
So they just suspend you because you're autistic.
Yes, very implicitly, but yes, because I didn't know at the time. I didn't make that connection. I thought they suspend me because I didn't show competence or preparation. I brought the bullshit they were bringing into me. So, and of course, I just have a fucking meltdown in front of them because what the fuck are you doing to me?
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
just here. So, and there's this lady. She said two things that stuck with me. You know, school is not just about theory, it's all about practice. You know, this was attacking my fucking good skills at nailing exams. Good to you. Just a second thing.
The thing that is required of you to succeed at the course. Thanks. It's like they require that you succeed at the theoretical part. But then when you're good at the theoretical part, but not good at the rest, it's like, oh, you don't need that. Then why was it required
It's
of
so
me?
fucking.
It happened to
Most of the
me
time it
because I'm a
isn't. Like,
musician, so I heard that one so many times. So many times.
yeah.
It sucks.
Like, yes. Yes, I know the theory. I know better than you. Like, what's the fucking point? I'm here to learn the practice. That's
Yeah.
what I'm here. Like, yes, I know the theory now. Where's the practice? I need the practice. I don't have that much practice. Yeah. So, and then the second time was like, don't cry. You don't need to cry. I was kind of like, threat.
Man, it's like, oh, you just gave me free trauma and you don't want the fucking change? You don't want a little bit of tear?
I was
Now you're
trolling
gonna get the
myself so
tear.
badly because what the fuck? Like, I was just like, why are you suspending me? I just because the thing that I was thinking at the time is like, is this thing wrong? I'm not going to do this search. They literally cancel me. Like, this is they're not very clear. They're like, how do you expect a student to react when you're here? Like, I'm going to suspend you just because you are here for the first day and you cannot be convincing that you are competent or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then after that, of course, I just went. I got to my car. I was kind of like, I was, I
Got
was
what, sorry?
screaming. Got to my car,
Ah, got
which
to my
was
car.
like, yeah, I got. It was 8 euros of parking.
Damn.
I was
What?
like,
How?
yeah, it was very expensive. Yeah, because I was five
Why?
hours there. I was
Okay,
5 hours there, and
it was what it was where Porto?
yeah,
Damn.
it was. I cannot say the name of the hospital, but it was that one near the Hospital Marilhões de Lemos. It is near that one.
I have no idea what that is. I was just really
No,
trying
it's
to
a private
situate the
one.
village.
Yeah. It's Matosinhos. No, it's near the water.
It's Porto. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I already assumed that you were. That you were already situated in Porto, but no,
No, no, no, no,
yeah.
no, no, no. I was really wondering, like, what kind of place that has parking that is so fucking expensive? Jesus fucking Christ! Why were you talking
Especially in
about
the
like
hospital.
the second
I
capital
was.
this country? Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It was a private hospital. So I got my car. I was screaming all the way to my home because the fuck was happening to me. I was really like, and then I got to a meeting. This was a week after because more torture. Like, this torture was not enough. You need to get more torture because the supervisor just told me, you need to get accommodations from school. I was kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. I was like, kind of against that. I was kind of like, I don't need special treatment. Just
That's
don't
a thing.
suspend me for
Accommodations are not special treatment.
I know, but at the time I thought it was
I understand. Yeah, it's
because I
internalized
was
ableism.
ableist.
Yeah, it's internalized
It was
ableism.
a stabilizer. So, and then 1 year after, because literally the meeting was not just to discuss the accommodations I was needing. Literally, the meeting was calling me out for doing that, as if it wasn't enough torture. So they would really say like, because honestly, I don't remember most of the stuff that they said. They said like, yeah, you need to actually, see that you need to, I guess, go to therapy to develop some coping skills. you
How
know, to
about you
improve that.
develop some fucking coping skills to deal with people that don't look at you in the eyes because they are not just being disrespectful and offending your entire world, they are just
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, 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 yeah.
existing.
Toad, this is too much big brain for them. Don't.
Man, I am
It's
just a
not like,
tiny toad and I can get there. They can do as well. They have like a human brain. Did you see
yeah,
the
and they
ridiculous
don't
size
only
of a
have a
human
human brain.
brain? I
They
only
have a
have a toad
master's in
brain.
psychology.
Oh, fuck's
They
sake.
one of them have a degree in psychology, and the other have a degree. No, not a degree. Masters in mental health.
Oh,
The
beautiful.
fucking irony.
Beautiful.
that
Beautiful.
was
Oh,
that
no.
was so beautiful. Oh, like I was there. Like actually, I knew that. I was like, yo, you're saying this with a fucking degree in your head.
My goodness.
Just,
Yeah, like
just.
your entire college experience is something. For me, college was tamer though. Like in comparison to everything
It's
else.
wild, yeah. But
Like the masters was
yeah,
pretty hard. Like the last year of masters was insane. But the 3 years of bachelor's and the first year of masters was actually pretty decent. Was actually pretty cool.
I can't relate to that. My degree was
I
a
guess
nightmare.
okay, put it this way. I was having trouble and like this is I guess the last piece of ableism that I experienced, like that I
Mhm.
which was I specifically with violin learning, I basically have a hard time imitating other people's movements if I don't know
Mhm.
exactly what they're doing. So I always had teachers that were just like, do this, they play, and I'm like, uh, how do I do that with my hand? And they would not be able to explain it to me. And so basically, violin was my worst subject. And I decided to be a violinist because I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm bad
yeah,
at this thing. I'm gonna do this thing. Um,
yeah. That's
it's
clear logic.
it's those energy. It's like it's a challenge, and I really like the violin. I don't know. I genuinely liked it, and I guess the thing that really bought me was my first orchestra concert. I got such
Hmm.
euphoria. Like I played there, and I was I was young, and I remember that the pieces were too hard for me. So I there were a lot of things that I couldn't play, but it was specifically for us kids. Like it was basically an orchestra of people that were like professionals and just kids like learning in an internship. So like it was expected that we would mess up a lot of things because they had other people that could play and help us out, you know?
Mhm. Nice. That's cool.
And yeah, yeah, it's a very particular kind of environment, and once you get into it, it's very toxic. But I was very oblivious to a lot of toxic shit going on. So listen, the point is, I got out of my first concert or in an orchestra, and just this massive sound that you create in a group of people. It's just like you are all playing different parts, and yet the sound that gets out of it is massive, and you are contributed to it. You are actively making it happen. I was like what 13 at the time, 14, and I just got out of that concert and I felt like shouting to the world, and I was so happy and euphoric and I couldn't stop jumping. I was just the stereotype of the happy autistic kid that just did something very cool, and I was just shaking and
No,
just I was
you
like,
know what
I want to do
happened.
this. I want
When
to
you
do
know
this
what,
for the rest of my life.
you know when that feeling happened to me.
Mm,
Because I want to be positive for once. I'm being
then
negative.
go ahead.
Uh, so, um, so I was 17 and I was in the digital phase of a reading context. This was the last one. It was it was the last ah what what is the name? Prova
Test is
test. Okay, I'm going with test. So the last time it was in the stage, and you had to do it was there a question, and you had to do expressive reading. I guess that's the name. So I was the first one to go, and I was jumping literally, like I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Ah! Ah! I'm going to nail this. Now, of course, I was not expecting to win, but I just went like, the stage is going to be mine. I'm going to nail it. I'm going to slay. I'm going
Damn.
to like. And then I went there. I was wearing my best lucky T-shirt. I was wearing my best pants. I
Hell
was wearing
yes.
some, and I was slaying. Like, yes, I read a passage. Oh, yeah, I did decent. I get not great, but and the question was decent as well. Like, I was not expecting to win, but that was the feeling.
But
Like,
did you win?
no,
Ah.
I
That
I
would have
didn't
been so
win
cool.
one. I didn't won the distros. I won the municipality one.
Yeah, yeah.
Like with, and that was also very exciting because I was there. I just arrived there to for the written exam. I slayed the exam. I aced the exam. It was 13 questions, just got correct. I
Damn.
nailed them. And I know what the book was, mate. It was what what the book was. The ADHD worst nightmare book that you can possibly imagine.
What is it?
100 Years of Solitude.
I see. I didn't read that one yet. Um, Rimbi? Rimbi. Okay, their mic disconnected. Rimbi, when you're back, you say stuff. I'll continue my ableist story because I feel like being negative again. As I was saying, I was so delighted with my orchestra experience. I was just like, I want to be doing this for the rest of my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do with a violin. Like, I never felt like a solo player. But oh boy, I loved the orchestra experience. I loved it so much, so much. You're
I'm
back,
back.
kinda. But now it's my turn. I stole it from you. I made your mic disconnect. Anyway, I was saying, um, and like I still kind of sucked at the violin. Like I was good, but kind of not
Look at the
good.
suck.
I was bad in the sense that I when I got to the end of high school, I did tests to enter in two different colleges. And in one of them, I got one of the lowest grades out of everyone applying.
Oh
Like
my god.
legit almost last. Like there was a guy that got a grade worse than mine, but he was basically an amateur a violinist, and he did high school like a couple of years ago, and then I guess it was me. I don't think there was anyone worse than us two. Um and the other college I entered at was because the teacher recognized that I was a very hard worker person, and he liked me, and I had a class with him before going to college, and he took full responsibility over me because I was going to be his student. He took full responsibility, he let me in, and I started having classes with him. And what I realized having classes with him was that throughout my entire experience as a violinist, no one was explaining me things in a way that I could understand them. So basically, um, sorry, Zik is distracting me. I'll read chat in a bit. Um, basically, what happened was that this teacher that I got could explain to me exactly what I needed to do with my hand. I got to my first violin class, and he said, "You don't know how to play the violin, but you can be a great violinist, and I'm gonna make a great violinist out of you." And I was like, "Oh shit, that's harsh. How do I become a good violinist?" Um, and it was a very hard job. And I feel like I got to the end of my college years, and I was pretty average, but I wasn't bad. And I entered, and I was the worst violinist at college. And I got out of there, and I was definitely not the worst. I was average. I was good. I was good. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. Um,
That's good.
and yeah, it is. But that's the thing. He genuinely would explain stuff to me like, if you want to play this specific bow technique, you need to put your bow specifically in this place because it happens this and this and this and this. And with your hand, you need to do this specific shape, and the distance between your fingers, this one and this one must be the same as this one and that one. Like, man, he was so absolutely specific in everything that he told me about the violin. I feel like I know a lot about the violin. Like, I don't know a lot in terms of tradition. I feel like I miss a lot of repertoire in terms of auditory references of how things should sound from a traditional point of view, but I do know how violin functions. I do know exactly physically why things work the way they should work, and I use that to the best of my advantage when I can. So, like, when I see someone playing the violin, I can tell exactly what they're doing and why. And that's a thing that no other teacher could explain up until then because they didn't understand the way my brain functions. I could not imitate them. And that's a thing that actually this new teacher, the person that I consider my violin teacher, he sometimes would be like, you need to learn how to imitate as well. Because sometimes he would play and I'd be like, that is cool. How do I do that? And he'd be like, size, and goes like, okay, you put your bow exactly here and you do this and you need to do this exact amount of pressure, and when you go there you apply a little bit more because the bow there is a little bit lighter, and like going to the detail. And I was like, thanks, I'm gonna do that. Another thing that happens is that I need things to be told me as soon as possible, because if I learn something wrongly, my muscle memory will take it, and unless I do a hard work of rationalizing what my muscles are doing, I cannot deconstruct it. So, like, having this teacher was the best thing that ever happened to me, because he would tell me like in the first stages of it, and so my develop wouldn't be as slow as it would be otherwise, because I learn slower than other people would learn from a motor point of view. And I felt like that just I could just be such a better violinist if I had just a teacher that taught me these things from the beginning, and not people that were like, oh, you need to relax your muscles until until you solve your problems at home, you will not be able to relax and just release the violinist in you. I didn't need this psychology talk, okay? I just needed someone to tell me technically how to play the violin. My traumas would be solved later, years in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just
So
read chat before going to you. Then I'll let you speak. I promise I'll let you speak. I just own this entire podcast, guys. Someone take my microphone out, because we are talking about education and I'm a fucking teacher, and I'm like, this podcast belongs to me and me alone. But yeah, Zig said that they are.
microphone.
He removed the mic from me. I have a cute little boar, stuffed boar, just on top of my mic, guarding it. But apparently that's not enough. As I was saying, Zig said that they're happy that they were not here before, because otherwise they would take the podcast. And I'm like, no, this podcast belongs to me. Zig, fuck off. This is my podcast, not even Humbo. Fuck off as well. Everything is mine now.
Tirei o microfone.
No, it's my
Again.
mic. Jazzcat says, oh damn, yeah, correcting technique once you've practiced it, something wrong is so difficult. For me, it's worse than that, in the sense that if I play it wrong the first time, until I deconstruct that, I just, I have eidetic memory, meaning that I just photograph things in my mind. And by photographing, I don't mean visually, I mean just
Fun
literally
fact, I also
everything.
have it, but let me the guy talk. Proceed.
So, like, if my muscles recorded it like that first time like that, oh boy. It's bad. Oh, Zig just said okay with a pouting face, and I'm like, okay, it's now everyone else's podcast, and Toad will just shut the fuck up for a little bit until they get too jumpy on the floor. Yes, I'm on the floor, and I have to talk again. Humble, go on.
What? You're okay. Okay, makes sense that you're on the floor. But how does I will not ask because they will make you.
I have the mouse and the keyboard on the floor. I have a pillow on the floor. I have the mic pointing to the floor, and I am just sitting on the floor.
I'm here sitting on my chair. Probably I should be on the floor as well.
My back hurts too much, so I am just on the floor. And I was lying down for a bit while I wasn't talking, and then I had to talk, and I said it again.
Me. So it's my turn.
Okay, I'm gonna lay down. Bye.
84 years of it's been 84 years since I talked. So so I have things to say as well. I don't know, like, yeah, so I mean, if I was learning the instrument and then I would realize that I was the worst to play, okay, I was like, no, this is not for me. Please, I want to be engineer. Like, fuck off the violin. I'm the worst. I should just keep up. I would be so shamed that I would not touch the thing.
Damn, no.
So, that's why I don't play instruments, because I would be so perfectionist and I would realize that I am the worst out of them. I would be so ashamed that I would not touch the instrument never again. I'm serious. So, what, so, so my experience, we're still in college, right? I should talk about college as well. That's the purpose, because I already got lost.
Sorry.
That's the purpose of talking about college, isn't it? Because
I mean, I was talking about college. You don't need to talk about college. I'm a little bit far away from the mic. I hope you can hear me.
I still can't hear you, unfortunately.
Damn.
It's my revenge now. So, things. So, at the end of violence, I am in training of being a healthcare professional, which probably I don't know what to do with anyway. So, so there was a lot of issues. Like, I didn't have that much. We don't have that much direct orientation from the professors when we are trying to be healthcare professionals. We depend so much on the internships. So me losing this internship was literally a nightmare. So because there's a thing, we don't have that much, because not only we have to do exams perfectly. Another thing, I'm going to touch the fact that many supervisors noticed that I was not, for some stupid reasons, that I was not good at doing exams, but I'm going to touch that on later. We don't have that much practice with how we approach patients, which I think that it's really essential in my point of view, because we have now I'm going to touch in medical trauma. I'm going to be careful here, but basically, we have a problem with the unempathetic healthcare professionals, as told, implicitly said, because of I'm guessing that also lack of training by the professionals in school. We don't train how to be empathetic with patients, and that's why I got that supervisor that was so weirded out when I asked if the patient was okay during the exam. And also intersectional training, because we don't take into consideration the certain. Well, in my case, this is a very specific area. I can see why it doesn't get approached, but at the same time, it's kind of like, yo, there's going to be a trans people going to do ear exams.
Oh,
I
yeah?
mean, it's kind of weird. Like, literally, I'm one.
Hell yes.
I just went into the ears doctor just a few days ago, and I'm trans. Like, I know. But still, this is but it's talking also to the medical to the doctors in training, to the interns. It's also very essential the fact that we need to have more approached intersectional, especially with trans people and disabled people, because we have so less accessible healthcare care. Uh, ah, yeah, that. So I'm not going. This is not very important to the point. What is important to the point? I think it also reflected in the way that they also approached me, because not only as I am a patient, but I'm also a person in training, and I was dealing with healthcare professionals, and they were having such an ableist, condescending way of dealing things. After that thing that happened, of course I got trauma, and of course I got more distance with school. Like, I literally, people not understanding of the situation. Like, my classmates were not being understanding of my situation. I got more distance. I got more anxiety attacks every time that I would go to the school. But then again, I would get probably would get in risk of receiving passive aggressive remarks from the professors, because I should be always at school when there were classes, and I should do my assignments, which is fine. Okay, I have to do them, but and again, the fixation on being all what is the name? Suidade.
Huh? What is the word in Portuguese?
No, in English. That's the point.
Yeah, but I was trying to help you translate.
Acessibilidade.
Acessibilidade?
A sweet, a sweet, a sweet. Oh my goodness, I'm
Ah, assiduidade?
struggling. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Fuck. No.
So the fix it, so you have to always go to the classes like without missing them, even though if you have healthcare professionals and you're
It's
basically
just
dying.
insane.
Just so
Okay.
why we can have like online schooling. It'll be fine. We I actually had online schooling for 1 year and a half. What would be the issue if I had? Well, it's a thing. I went
Yes,
into Zoom class, Zoom class during pandemic. It was fun. Actually, the routine shift was a nightmare. But anyway, not getting to that. What I'm getting to that. Uh, so I was going like that until I decided to mess the whole fucking semester of school. I was only doing internship basically, which was already tiring on its own. Yeah, it was messy to be honest because I basically couldn't get out of bed because okay I could but I would have such a I would just I would be shut down all day like since like I could not go to the fucking library for a while.
yeah,
How do I explain this to fucking? How do I fucking explain this to people? Like, listen, as much as I try to get things done,
I need a
as I much
specific environment to work. If I don't have that environment, I cannot work.
yeah, basically, I was like that before, but then when I got so low energy, I could not just drag myself to that place to calm myself down and do the thing. I couldn't. I was, this is surprising. I was being disabled by my own body. Because, and this is not like so, like, oh no, because you're having physical pain. No, it was not physical pain. It was pretty much just feeling fatigue, but it was very psychologically it was coming from psychology reasons because I was drained all the time. And I was also in the overthinking loop, which also made me even more disabled from doing stuff. Yeah, that overthinking come from the fact that probably I'm going to fail this thing. Yeah, it was disable me. Like if listen, I need to do this thing, but if I think that I'm going to fail anyway, how am I going to do that? So it was being months like this, and and I'm being afraid of failing because already. I'm already late from graduation. Like I'm already a year late from graduation. It was like, listen, if I fail this thing, I'm going to delay even more. So it was like because without this account of because the internship it's two places that I had to go, so I could not do two internships at the same time. It was impossible for me, so I had to live to the next year. That I think that I hope you guys understand because literally I'm not in the brain to explain better. So which means that I'm going to delay a year. This was because of that, because someone just decided I was not prepared for that day on internship. With it's fucking nuts. You cannot imagine. So, and that made me so disabled all the time, and I could not cope. And then I got the fucking ADHD diagnosis, which, for God's sake, that makes sense. Like why? Because the house was already burning down because my executive dysfunction was getting worse. So yeah, so yeah, the people. When there's a thing, what do you have to take away from this? It's like people talk about the needs from accommodation from universities, and yes, we should fight for accommodations from universities. But the things I asked for accommodations on university before, but then I kind of back up from that because I realized that universities are very ableist. The professors were very ableist. The system was very ableist on its own. So it was kind of like it was not worth it for me. Listen, there are at least that there are universities that are more accepting of autistic students, but I just believe deep down that my university was kind of like not worth it to fight. It would get even more trouble for me.
Mhm.
So, so it was that. It was like a loss of hope, literally. And also because the is the thing, I'm going to be really a little controversial here. It's like the act of asking for accommodations. I mean,
The
it's
simple
still
fact
kind
that
of
you
a
have
form
to
of
ask. Yeah.
it's kind of a form of segregation. There are people that defend that point, which I'm not that much against. It is. It still kind of is.
Put it this way, if everyone could ask for accommodations, um, then it wouldn't, in the sense that I do think that everyone, regardless of being disabled or not, should be able to ask for accommodations. Accommodations should be the norm to the point that they wouldn't be accommodations anymore. It would just be
Yeah.
adapting to each individual case.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm
That's why.
saying,
Yeah.
but for this you would need a couple of things. For example, the most obvious one, not having a teacher to deal with 30 students in a classroom. In case of college, more than that. That would be the first thing. You cannot possibly have that amount of people in a room and expect to have things in a way that everyone is going to be comfortable with. It's impossible. You need to work with smaller groups. That is the first thing, which, then you'd need to pay more salaries to the teachers because you'd have more teachers. And that is a little bit complicated because money is involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Also
the first thing.
logistics.
Yeah. But the logistics are really secondary. I mean, or rather, the logistics are also a thing of like, you need more money to invest on that. Hey, Phi NFP. Hello, hello, hello there. Welcome in. Um, so what I'm trying to say is that everyone having accommodations would benefit people that are not disabled. But the reason why that don't happen is because the educational system does not allow for that in the first place. You don't have the conditions for it to happen. For as much as I, as a teacher, want to give each and every of my students the better conditions for them to learn, I don't have the means to do that. I don't have the ways of doing that. You know, so of course that in this case, then if only disabled people can ask for accommodations and get said accommodations, then it becomes a form of segregation because disabled people can ask for them because they are different and other people cannot. But that shouldn't be the
Yeah.
case. It should just be for everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
it
yeah.
really comes to the very definition of disabled. What is to be disabled? Because if I am disabled because I am autistic and I have ADHD and I have alexithymia and I have hypersensitivity to certain stimuli and I have hyperempathy, all those things. Like, that is one thing, but if a person just, uh has a little bit of trouble, for example, I don't know, with a specific sound, that is not considered a disability. It doesn't qualify as a disability, but it does affect the person on a daily life. It does affect the performance of this person in a class, and this person does need an accommodation. Why is this not a disability? What is a disability to start with? Isn't it because the social model of disability tells you that being disabled is anything that that is away from the norm and that therefore makes your life harder in some way.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
because disability is a social construct in the sense that
Exactly. It's socially
the
constructed.
medical
Disability is socially
community
constructed.
defines, yeah, the medical the community just goes like, okay, this traits, this and this and this make a disability, and the other and one or two of these traits don't make it. It's really arbitrary because medical community decides that. It's really that. Because the thing, I have lack of focus, which was the thing that was impacting. Like, so one internship, there was when like I would struggle with attention into doing certain exam, like because listen, it wasn't a big deal because I would not make mistakes. My apparent lack of attention was really me. It was a way of coping with my actual lack of attention, which I was taking much time to register the results because it was kind of hard. It was like the shit was it's insane how to register results. It was difficult for me. So then the professor called me out for doing that, and I very explained like, this is my way to not commit mistakes. Really, you would prefer me to do the mistakes. Like, it's better for me to take the extra time to not make the mistakes. And then after that, I said that actually I have ADHD. Which is actually because it's a thing, because most of the time people think that they have lack of focus. It's not really a disability, but it is, and it turned out it's actually ADHD, which is already a defined disability. So
Yeah. Put it this way: do you wear glasses?
I do, yes.
You are disabled.
Yeah, usually I am. Especially, yeah, because it actually affects my profundity levels. I think it's a name.
It gives me headaches if I don't wear my glasses. I do need, a tool to make my sight comparable to that of an abled person. It affects my daily life. Without my glasses, I cannot, yeah, he meant depth perception.
Yeah, that's the name.
Yeah. Um, like, it's just because it is a more socially acceptable to disability, to the point that most people don't even think about it as a disability because it's so normalized that a lot of people wear glasses. It doesn't mean that it isn't a fucking disability. We are visually impaired if we wear glasses. Some more, some less. Still a disability nonetheless.
I am extremely disabled in one eye.
The amount of kids that I have that the parents didn't take to the doctors to see about their eyes, and that they struggle to read a fucking
Oh
score
no,
in my
no,
class,
no,
that they
no, no,
ask
no,
me
no.
to be in the front row when it's group classes because they cannot see to the board. You cannot tell me that a kid that needs glasses is not disabled, because I will slap people. I will become a very aggressive toad. I will rip it the shit out of this podcast.
Imagine that person told, and
I am
I'm
very
going to
unhinged. It's
burn
past midnight.
the burn. I'm going to burn down the house,
While riveting?
as well.
Or while reciting
No,
a
no, no,
poem?
not. Uh, I would I would like throw a pile of very stupid, obscene books, and then I turn on the lighter, and then just burning down the whole thing, and people get shocked because I'm a narcissist. I'm also very unhinged right now. Sorry.
Oh, who would have guessed? I mean, listen, I cannot blame you. Usually I'm the person that is like, but Himbi. But today I'm just so okay, guys, put it this way. I have been dealing with excruciating pain in my body every single day of my life without knowing why for at least 2 years now. Yes, I should get checked. No, I don't know how. I am extremely scared, and I think doctors will dismiss me again. And I've been
Medical
spending
trauma is a bitch.
Yes, I've been spending the 2 last weeks, especially this last one, half of my day at least is spent lying on the floor of my room, trying to not cry of pain and just trying to soothe it and make it like bearable so that I can get up, and like just almost melting down every time I think that I need to go to the bathroom that is on the other side of my house. That has been my norm. So like I am extremely unhinged. Today is the first day that I could spend only a quarter of my day lying on the floor. Small steps, guys. Victories.
Yeah.
I could
So,
play a game today,
and
guys. I could play a game on my
okay, I'm also
computer.
yeah.
Hell yes.
They did it.
Sorry.
Me. Now you can be arranged at your will. Also, I'm struggling with exit dysfunction because I'm masking so much, and I'm going to fights because of that. Yeah. 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 So yeah, and I'm actually shutting down like all the time. Like sometimes I'll be like, my body is not collaborating. So yeah. But I'm like naturally unhinged. Like I'm the unhinged person here on this podcast, and I'm actually very
You are not
happy.
you're not more unhinged than me today, really.
Yeah, I'm being the calm people here. Like I'm just like
You
let
are.
him talk,
You
let
are.
him talk.
Okay, but can I summon a couple things that we've said so far? Like summarize a couple things. So
Yeah, go ahead.
basically, I think that we've covered like ableism through a more personal level on the early stages of education. So like kindergarten, primary school, middle school, even high school, and then we went to college and we covered all that. We also talked about a more systemic kind of approach to it. So like how the system itself doesn't allow for accommodations in certain aspects, how it doesn't allow for flexibility, and how it is in itself uh, a system that is built for really making life hard for every student, and especially disabled students. We talked about the infrastructures, we talked about um, more socially constructed kind of problematics. So I guess that like a lot of these problematics affect everyone, and they are and some of them are a little bit more implicit and some of them are way more explicit, in the sense that, you know, stairs without elevators in schools are a crime. Just saying, and it's very
Yeah,
direct. And that, you know, the fact that people have timed exams is a thing that kind of is hard on a lot of students that are not even disabled, um, but is a way more implicit way of showing violence in a way towards disabled people. You know, we also covered that it affects very differently people with the same disabilities, and we covered that, for example, with the whole oh, I was better at written stuff, oh, I was better at speaking, or oh, I was actually good with the logical sciencey stuff, oh, I was actually better with the language stuff, you know. Or how for me the tests were actually super easy because I could deal with a lot of stuff, you know, and how I was the loud kid and you were kind of the opposite. So yeah, I guess that when it always comes down to a huge lack of flexibility of the system to adapt to stuff. Oh, we also covered the thing about the way that our educational system is built for a world that doesn't exist anymore, which is from the Industrial Revolution, like all the way back there. And we are kind of like, we need people that actually know how to search information, sort information, and just know what is good info and bad info so that they can take their own conclusions and not decide that the earth is flat out of a sudden and stuff like that.
base.
I am so unhinged right now. Yeah, I think that is a good summary of what we talked, unless you have anything else
It's a
to
good
add.
summary. I could not do best to be honest
Damn,
because
I did it.
because I did it. You did it. Listen, if you're doing it's like probably listen, probably I won't make them talk about crazy shit.
I've talked about so many
Are
things.
you actually told? Actually, are you told? I don't know. I sometimes question that. Are you actually told,
I am a
or
toad.
you are told you want to fight amphibian?
Hmm.
What? Do you actually eat flies? Those things look really
Yeah, it's no.
disgusting, to be honest.
I am a fruit kind of toad.
Oh, uh,
Yeah, another thing. So that pisses me off. It's not really education per se, but it's schools.
hmm? Schools?
Eating at school. Eating at school is fucking ableist. Period. I rest my case. I do have
Oh my
more
goodness!
things to
Like,
say about, like, for years I could not eat the food at school because it was awful. Also, the environment was too loud. Like, they have these ceilings that are like 5 meters tall or whatever that fucking shit is. It just
yeah, yeah,
echoes
yeah, yeah. They
everywhere.
are.
You cannot hear what anyone says. It's just, what the heck. And so, like, but I still wanted to eat with my quote unquote friends, which I didn't have.
God, oh
But
God.
yes, because they were just my classmates. I was desperately trying to be sociable and failing miserably. Um, so like what would happen for a lot of years was just because I couldn't eat at school, I would bring my own thing with soup and I would just eat a very strong soup and that would be my lunch. Um, and I would
So
actually
besties.
so I would enter the cafeteria with my soup to eat there, but because they don't offer you any option that is actually safe in any way, like food is awful and they just have this one thing that has to work for everyone and it sucks.
Oh
And
yeah.
people judged
Uh,
me so much because of it, and people made fun of me because I just said that I can't eat that, and people were like, oh, but everyone else is eating it, why can't you eat that?
oh yeah, yeah. Feel same,
I
same.
got to the point that I just I gave up on going to the cafeteria and I would just eat on my own on some stairs because sitting is a crime in this society. I swear to God that in Western societies, sitting down is a crime. You cannot
Oh
sit
yeah.
down because if you
In,
sit down,
in
it is improper. There is no benches. Where are the goddamn benches and the chairs? Can I just fucking sit down? If I need to go somewhere, I need to wait in a line while standing up while my back hurts. My feet are starting to burn, like they feel like they're burning, and I cannot sit down. And I just stared in pain. Everything is on fire, but this is
okay,
fine.
okay. I'm at the culprit here because I could actually eat the full meals stand up because I'm
Man, I
hyperactive.
want an able body.
Oh, you want mine?
I would take it.
You would take it?
I would take it.
Okay. Okay, but here's the thing. It was still going to be dysphoric a little bit, but probably worth it.
But probably a little bit less. I just need to train those hands for them to know how to play the goddamn violin again.
Oh, that would be so tiring because those hands are just graphics.
I would find a way around it. I did it
You
once.
would find a
I
way
can do it
around.
twice.
You can do it
Practicing my skills, I go.
twice. Here you go. And then what was your body? Oh, just lay on the floor and die of pain sounds nice. A nice plan to me. I will not do anything. I'll just lie on the floor doing nothing, suffering, getting to the even more to my doom. That'll be nice.
Damn, please don't do
I mean,
that. Don't take my body. I changed my mind. I don't want this for anyone, really.
uh, you don't even wish this to your worst enemy. Imagine
I
your
don't
romantic
wish this to
partner.
my worst enemy, and it's not because I'm better than them. It's just because it's really bad.
That's the purpose of the expression. It's like it's that bad that you don't even wish to your best
No, no, no.
enemy.
But listen, hear me out. I would wish my
Worst
worst
enemy.
enemies a lot of bad stuff, and like I don't have that mentality of like, oh, I am superior to that. I would not wish that on. No, but for this one thing.
Would not wish to have forward thinking. Like like this, and if you're changed about it, like probably would. No, I don't wish to have intrusive thoughts and overthinking. That's awful. Good, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, overthinking. Yeah, overthinker. What am I doing here?
What were
I'm
you saying? You were
dying.
gonna say something, weren't you? Actually, something with
Hmm.
content.
I do
Sorry,
something with
that
content.
sounded so savage.
Oh, so yeah, because probably I would say like I have. Don't you guys know? But I have avoiding restrictive food intake disorder. You know what I mean. So I would actually have. It's a thing that actually happened many times in college. It's like I could not eat, and I didn't know why still at the time, but I could not eat fully the meal. I didn't know why. When people were just like, why you just eat the full meal? That's why you're so skinny. I didn't know at the time, but it was overwhelming to eat that food. And I didn't know why. Now I know. That's fucking ableist. And people were actually, and also because I was also the guy that ate a lot of soups. And soups were base. They were
Oh, yes, soups
super
are
nice.
life.
I
Like,
love
soups are so
soups.
creamy. They feel nice on the mouth. They are
So,
soothing.
They're
and they
so
feel nice on
good.
the
I
belly.
would eat
They are
2
warm.
balls.
They are like a
I
hug.
would. They're like a hug. It's like a cuddle without
Yes.
the, the
Without
sexual part, but
people. No, without people. Cuddles don't need to be sexual.
with the.
It's a cuddle without the people part.
I'm
It's a
just.
win-win
This was
situation.
me as a sex. It was. Anyway, so yeah, it's a cuddle without the people. Soup is a cuddle without people.
Ah,
Quote this.
beautiful.
This is important.
Two autistic
So
people fanboy about soup. I like spicy soup. Oh man, that does feel like heaven. Jazz Cat, you are my soulmate. I swear to God.
spicy soup. I'm more ambivalent about, but
I
sounds
like
good.
spicy stuff. I like soup.
I
I
like
must
spicy
love
stuff.
spicy soup.
I like spicy stuff. I love spices. Spices are big.
Spicy
Like
hug.
European cuisine is
Now that
shit.
sounds sexual.
We did it. We did it. No, but
Two
here's the thing.
asexual
European
people
cuisine is
talking
so
a
bland
podcast
that
and
we
make
need.
the chat thirsty. Sorry, I had to.
Oh, we can make them more thirsty about this. Like we can just start it on. Don't you, Stone? We can start.
No, please stop. I'm
The.
uncomfortable.
I'm also comfortable. To be honest, I'm comfortable.
We need to end soon. We are just getting so off
Dying.
topic. We are getting so off topic. We started
We are
so
dying.
strong.
Yeah.
Stop, Twitch will kill you. No, this is a family friendly channel.
Penis, vagina, and
No,
vulva.
please
Yeah.
stop.
Very family friendly.
We are just using the technical terms of people genitalia as we are very informative people. Please, Rambo, behave.
I cannot believe this shit. I did so long, so I did so extra to do a joke. I had to stop because I'm asexual. I don't know genitalia names.
Chat is
I'm so
losing it.
ignorant about this.
I'm so
I
sorry,
was.
guys.
I'm so ignorant about this. I didn't have sexual education. Sexual education is a very interesting theme about. That I didn't
Oh my
have
god.
it.
No. It's actually fucking ableist. It expects you to catch things from context that are never there. It's like they teach you stuff. It's more than that. It's like I was in primary school and they start to try to tell you how the reproductive system works, right? Right. And they tell this little beautiful story about how the male gives a seed to the female and then she gets pregnant. And I was just like, that's bullshit. And I know why I know it's bullshit. Do you know why I know it's bullshit? Because I watched BBC on TV and animals do not reproduce like that. So I'm pretty sure humans don't do that either. That's bullshit. I called the teacher out in the classroom telling her that is not how it works because I know animals don't function like that and I have chicken at home and I have rabbits. And my teacher called my parents to the school. I was like, what did this kid watch? What is wrong with this kid? And my parents were like, I mean, I guess she just knew because like my parents say that at some point I just asked about this and my dad was just like so you've seen programs with animals, and I was like, don't say a word, I got it. I didn't get it, but I got it. I got the idea, and I was like, I don't want to know what you guys do. That sounds pretty weird. I don't want to know anything else about it. But I knew when I got to school that the teacher was full of shit. I just knew that the teacher was full of shit, and I wanted to tell the teacher that I knew that the teacher was full of shit.
Yeah.
But then when you get to like 6th grade, it's like they finally start to, give you proper sexual education and like, so, like talking about menstruation and like the cycles and like condoms and whatever. But they don't teach you shit. And it's like, okay,
Yeah,
but
they
now
don't.
you're telling me shit that I kind of already knew because I already have my period. So thank you very much for telling me that now. I guess not. Also, yes, condoms are a thing because guys keep making jokes about it in class, so I already knew those were a thing. They keep on making jokes about bananas. Thanks, I suppose that is a thing that happens. So, like, but then they don't actually tell you any useful information, and you get to adulthood, And it's just like sex is like this mythical creature. You either watch porn and have very wrong ideas about it, or you don't even
No,
have
no.
ideas about it. It's
Okay, I
insane.
have a take on this.
You are asexual.
And not very interesting in sex, to be honest. At all,
But
like
that's the thing. Even if you are
even
not
today, not at
interested,
all.
I'm not talking about like
No, no,
making
calm
it a
down.
big thing, but you still need to know stuff that you
Yeah,
are
yeah.
not
I need
taught.
to know stuff. Calm down. So, I know what you get, but then again, what pissed me off was not the because it's the thing. I wanted to be informed, but there was such a hype beyond that that was pissing me off so much because people would just laugh at genitalia. It was kind of like, my God, it's just genitalia. Please behave.
Yes.
And
Although I was the kid, I was making
it
dick
was
jokes because
I
it was
just
funny.
hated I just hated the reaction with the class. That's why I hated having asexual education, to be honest, because it was uncomfortable, even though they didn't teach that at such detail, and
But
I
that's the
was
thing. The
also very
teachers didn't know how
ignorant.
to handle a class. The teachers don't know.
See,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the kids are making jokes about everyone being gay because they see a dick in a class, and the teachers don't do anything about it. So like, of course that's gonna happen. It's like you draw a dick. Aha,
Yeah.
you gay. No, you gay because you watch it. No, you gay. You gay. You gay. Your mom's gay. That's it. That's the whole discussion. And like, I was this kid as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm judging, but I was this kid. I was one of the dudes. I was one of the guys in this. Like, I was a guy just making dick jokes and being an
That
asshole.
was a guy.
I am still kind of a guy. But point being, I was the same. What I'm criticizing is that the how much people like they just assume that you're gonna know. And what I'm trying to say is that I am autistic. I either know something or I don't know something. And if I don't know something, I am gonna ask questions. And I will have a lot of goddamn questions. And you don't want to deal with them. You better tell me stuff. Or I will either assume wrong things or I am gonna have so many questions. No one will want to deal with that. Just give me the info.
Yeah. Okay. I was kind of the opposite. I was very uninterested at the same time because like, why I need to know this? Listen, I was 13, for sake. I was kind of like misanthropic in a way. Like, how do I explain? Like, I will never see myself as a sexual being. It's very interesting. Like, this was an ace just trying to come out so badly. Like, I was just like, I'm not interested in this type of stuff. I know it's interesting in academic point of view. I understand. Like, yes, we have to know this, but then again, it would be useful to my life now, so better not know it. Basically, it was that.
Hmm.
So, and that was why I didn't know what fucking sexual penetration was until I was 15 almost.
Hmm. Makes sense.
Because I was just not interested. I was just not interested. Like, why I need to do that? Like, but it was but then again, it will be for my safety. It will be important to know those things, like the condoms and contraception methods. So contraception methods. Yeah, that's the name. So, but besides that, there was so much hype that was also pissing me because since I was very young. Oh my goodness, it's going to be such a huge sentence. I'm going to because sexual education is because they have assumed that because disabled people, especially AFABs, they
Hmm.
assume that they're disabled, they are therefore innocent and asexual in the sense that don't have no interest in sexual relationships, not as much in sexual orientation, but as
Hmm.
interest in sexual relationships. And so I think that sexual education fails in that sense that
I
they
felt
just
that
assume,
pressure.
yeah.
I felt that pressure in the sense that I wasn't perceived as disabled, but I was perceived as a woman, as a girl, whatever. And I always felt and that's one of the reasons why I probably took so long to figure out that I was in the asexual spectrum, was because I was actually interested in sex from a curiosity point of view and from a sensorial experience point of view. So I was comfortable exploring some ideas, and I wanted to be verbal about it in the sense that, hey, it's not because I'm a girl that I'm gonna engage in all sexual jokes so that you guys get the point. I am in on the loop. You know, kinda because I felt like everyone was assuming that I wouldn't have interest in certain kinds of topics because I was a girl. And so my trans butt was there like,
Hmm.
oh no, you're not gonna
That's
perceive me like that.
transgressive.
I am gonna be one of the dudes and I am gonna prove to you that I am very interested in sex. Cheers.
Yeah.
And that
That's part
made
of
me
your dude masking persona. Okay.
it's not even, but that's the thing. Of course I was masking and I was putting expectations on myself that didn't correspond to what I actually wanted. But the thing is, I was genuinely interested. And it pissed me off that people were assuming things about me because I was perceived as a girl. It was pissing me off pretty hard.
Hmm. Because you think, because if you're a girl, you will be more, you would have less freedom to talk about this. Like, you feel more, you will repress more this stuff, basically. This tech stuff. That's the wrong perception that people have of AFABs,
Mm-hmm.
basically. You
Yeah.
were afraid that you were going to perceive that. Well, I
Well,
also felt
yes.
that pressure. That's why it was really also difficult to come out as a, not because I didn't know it. There was, but I was so afraid. Like, in a sense, like I didn't want to be perceived as conservative or prudish. I was pretty much the opposite. I'm very progressive and open-minded, but there was that sense, like I know I can get this comfortable, especially when you're talking about porn.
Oh yeah, I get uncomfortable as well, but because I don't like the visual thing, it feels very grotesque.
Also, that as well, yeah, but also the exploitation. And I can actually, and as I remember a few days ago, like I was rationalizing this, I got some coffee when someone got proud over watching porn. It was actually lesbian porn, and it was no, lesbian porn is very fetishized,
Oh yeah.
and also you get pride over watching porn. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Listen, that was a thing
And
that
that
probably
same
teenage me would do.
person and that same person also called me prudish, which is a thing like I got like, no, you cannot call me prudish. It's touching
Yeah.
for me because I'm not prudish, and even though I still because this has come from the years ago when people were just kind of like, oh, you're not interested in sex, you don't look at guys, are you like prudish or something? Mm,
Hmm.
yeah, probably.
I get
Just
it.
kidding.
Let me read Jessica's message. We actually had detailed sex education in primary school. It went into decent detail about how the physical anatomy worked, but it was the 80s, so it was also horrible for omitting anything but heterosexual intercourse. I'm hoping this is better now. And well, I answered by saying that that's better than anything I ever got. But I also want to add one thing. It is bad, or it was bad to the point that I had a friend. She was 18 at the time I was 19. And she asked me first, how does a girl masturbate? Because she had no idea how. That is the first thing. It's kind of worrying that a girl at 18
No,
years
no,
old is asking how. This is a thing that she should already know for a bunch of years now. Second thing,
no, no, I was kind of
sh-
like me. Sorry.
second thing, she thought this one is the least bad. She thought that girls could only get pregnant while they were on their period. This is dangerous. This girl thought that she could only get pregnant if she was on her period. Now let's think about this from a safety point of view.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, she was 18. The school system failed this girl very hard. I had the talk with her when she was 18. I was 19 and I was
Jesus.
parenting this 18-year-old girl. And I'm telling you, I was a fucking virgin and very clueless about a bunch of shit. And yet I had way more information than her. But because I looked at things on my own, because no one tells you anything, they just expect you to know. And I feel like this is at core, or not at core, but on a lot of levels, it's ableist because it expects you to just figure things out and just fucking know from what context. I didn't get that context. Where is the
Yeah,
context? Please give me
especially
the context.
because yeah, yeah, there's no culture because most of the times you can be deprived from social contact, for reasons because you're disabled. And how do you get to knowledge? Because as you said earlier, most of the knowledge that you get is from your peers. How in hell are you going to get that from? And even then, knowledge from this type of sexual knowledge is not even safe for certain peers because there's a lot of misinformation
Oh
about
yeah,
sexual
yeah.
education,
No,
and you need to get it right.
oh yeah, and I was only
So
dealing with guys. You might imagine
how in
how
hell?
good guys are at these kind of subjects overall. Let's face
Oh
it.
yeah, they're very fluent.
I
They're
mean,
very
most guys
fluent.
don't even know where the fucking Pluto
Imagine
is.
dealing with the guys. These guys, my God, imagine having friends as guys. Imagine having friends.
Listen, but that's the thing. I couldn't deal with the girls, so all my friends were guys, and they were saying so many wrong things. Like I look back at some of the things that the guys were telling me, like my bros were telling me as like this thing that was definitely happening during sex, and I'm like, bro, your girl must be so unhappy. I look back and I go
Unlucky.
like, poor bastard. I hope you're better now.
My God.
It says,
Um,
and this is why
but in
uneducated
my
people get
case,
pregnant earlier in life and have their life crumble. Yes, and then abortion is not legal in some places. And it's clearly their fault
that
they got
is
pregnant.
sucky. Actually, oh my God. Oh my God.
It's clearly their fault. Hey!
Oh my God. So in my case, I was kind of deprived from that social contact. I mean, the stuff that I know was basically all self-taught, to be honest.
Oh, hell yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, I got books. Like I would read some stuff, like okay, and I would get the information from. I was actually trying. There was times that I could actually know that I was trying,
I
but
would
I was
get always
just
too
so
self
uninterested.
conscious.
What?
I would get too self conscious. Like, there were things I wanted to know and I couldn't search because the simple idea that on the first result I could just get images, like from Google Images, would like make my entire world crumble. And I was like, I don't want to see anything, so I'm just
No,
not
no,
gonna
no, no,
search.
yeah, yeah. For me, it was
No,
Google, it was books
no.
and some
Mm-hmm.
Wikipedia. Yeah, and
No,
I
no,
would just
not
not
even
mind
Wikipedia.
because I
Wikipedia
was
has images. No,
reading as a scientist. That's the advantage of being full blown asexual. You don't get
I
intimidated by
wish I could do that.
anything.
But
It's just
even
kind of
now, I
like
get self conscious. I don't know why. I just get this panic of just seeing images that I don't want to see, and I just get like I don't. I there are certain subjects I cannot search about because I'm just like, no, I don't wanna.
it's
Sad.
fine because okay, I'm going to search about this thing and this thing because that's just not mine. It's okay. I'm looking at it as a scientist basically.
I wish I could do that. I love that mentality. I try to put it in my brain. My brain says no.
Because I don't know, I just can't take full myself from the context, the intimate context, the sexual context, and just analyze them with a very rational eye. Yeah, that's how I do it. And that's how I get self-taught. And that's why it was so confusing for me too when people just would become giggly all about sexual stuff, which for me was kind of like, just guys, behave. It's normal stuff. It's biology. It's normal. That's how you get born. It's normal. Get real.
I was both being that kid ironically and making the dick jokes at the same time. I would be like, guys, why are you laughing so much? You gotta be mature. Look, there's a dick. Be that kid.
Why? What is
What
funny
question?
about dicks? Dicks are just normal organs of the human body. I just don't get them. What is funny about them? What
I,
is funny?
I,
Where's
d-
the funny in the dicks?
I'm attracted to them. That's probably what's funny about them. How? I have no
I'm not
idea.
attracted to none. I'm not attracted to genitalia, so that's why it makes me confusing.
I have a practical suggestion if you would like to. I used to have a browser plugin that turned off all images. Jazzcat, you are truly and my only soulmate. Please tell me more about that plugin on my Discord if you can, because I need info. Zig was hearing a word as British and doesn't know what you're saying, and I have no idea what that word could be.
What word?
I have that's what they're trying to figure out, and I have no idea what it
Name
is.
British. Don't know.
I have no idea either. Maybe it's 1 a.m.
It's 1 a.m. Yeah. So we should go, and you are in excruciating pain. I am something as well.
Right now I'm actually like I have pain, but I am not laying down. I am sitting down, which means that I have the ability to sit down.
Guys,
Zig
quick,
was
quick.
saying that you were saying something that your classmates would call you
Brutish. Brutish. That's the name. Brutish.
with a P.
P. Brutish.
Oh, brutish! They say. Guys, I think we're gonna end here. Please stay for the raid. Let's raid someone nice.
I don't know how to pronounce words. That's the end. That's the end. I should just don't not talk anymore. I cannot talk. Really.
Foothill Rounders is live. Let's raid them. They are a lovely, lovely, lovely couple. An old couple. They just make they play folk music and they are absolutely adorable. They started streaming during COVID for their family on Facebook because they wanted their family to have music, and they eventually turned to Twitch, and they are the most lovely thing ever. We're gonna rate them. I really miss being at their stream. Although I'm not gonna say because it's like 1 a.m. But still, let's do that. I really
Yeah.
love them. I have no idea why dicks are funny, but I still laugh. What a fucking mood. Listening to afterwards. Yes, guys, let's finish. Rimbi, do you wanna say last stuff? Do you wanna say stuff to finish?
It's British.
God damn it. Guys, ableism in education happens in all shapes and forms, and we suffer from it, and yeah.
Especially in academic sense, like we can suffer from academic racism, which we could ask for accommodation, which is a form of segregation. But then there's two cases: they don't provide it, period, and they do, but we still get to the like, oh, but you're getting special treatment, like yeah, and we talk about certain shit that I cannot remember, to summarize a little later.
I
The
already started
conclusion
the
is
raid.
we live in a capitalist society that actually our education system is based still in old standards like the industrial revolution that is very exclusive of our disability
Damn,
needs.
those sick bits. Guys, bye. See you next week. Stay for the raid.
So yeah.